And welcome back to the High School Nationals for day number 2. My name is Jake Sterix with Bradley Teagun Seymour, who's neither lovely, neither caring, but is joining me for the second day in a row to now look at the second bracket.
I think I'm caring.
Well, you didn't want me to call you lovely, you didn't want me to call you fantastic, so there it is, straight, hard and dirty. Bradley Teagun Seymour. Today is all about finding our next bit of talent to join New Zealand in those grand finals.
New states and territories this time as well, starting with South Australia versus Northern Territory. And you're right, it's all about finding that team that finds their way into the finals for the game on October 20th against New Zealand. Whoever makes it has a hard task. New Zealand proved yesterday what a good team they are.
But to be fair, we haven't seen these 4 teams yet. So we have South Australia, Northern Territory, Victoria, and WA. 4 different high schools who have not jumped on the rift just yet.
Well, not on camera at least. They have played in their own state's playoffs to get to this point already, but now the pressure is really on. They're playing in front of a bigger audience. They have to look forward towards the best of 3 later today as well. And now we get to see who really builds under that pressure and who is going to start struggling.
And I think with that pressure, we decided yesterday the best of 1 was kind of the most intense format to start things off. You have 1 game to define yourself, and when we start with 2 teams who we haven't seen just yet, it's all in the first moments of the game that everything is kind of decided.
I would say it's even just the draft. Whenever we see interesting picks come out in the drafts, it's all something like the Skarner pick early on.
Yeah.
If we see something like Master Yi picked really early on, that would be a very impressive, you're throwing the gauntlet there. We saw Jack's Jungle yesterday as well.
But we're starting things off. This time, SA and NT jump onto the rift. So it is Glenuga International and Darwin High School. Best of 1s.
Draven banned first off, already setting the tone. They're not banning the strong meta picks. They're not sitting there going, oh, we don't want to deal with an Akali, a Zoe, things like that. They don't want to deal with what they think their opponents are strong on. Like I said yesterday, and I'm beating a dead horse, and I'll continue doing it, best of 1 is all about removing your opponent's comfort picks.
But you're right, there's information that you have, and you want to make sure you get rid of every single comfort pick on the board. Led the second ban there by the Northern Territory. Echo as well, which we saw in almost every game yesterday in the High School Nationals.
It's all about the high skill cap champions for these kids. They want to prove themselves.
High school cap, yeah.
Terrible. You almost did that yesterday as well. But they want to prove themselves. They want to be the carry on their team, and you can't blame them. Whenever you're given the opportunity to show off, I know I sure as hell did this a lot.
Oh, yeah?
So it's not surprising that it shines through today.
I mean, that 1 game defines your moment, defines your, I guess, career walking forward, because you'll have semi-finals after this, which goes into a best of 3. But keeping in this game, Morgana and the Graves ban. We take a look at that Camille first pick and the Yasuo's response.
When we look at Camille, you can argue that it's a flex pick between top and jungle, but we prominently see it top.
That
However,
is the first time we've seen a Vi in a very long time.
And that is not a flex. That is I want to say this is an ode to Guts. Guts is a player that played Vi quite heavily in his climb to Challenger and as he first broke onto the competitive scene. And now we have it picked here early for Darwin High School. And if there is a solo queue, if there is I am going to carry this game champion, Vi embodies that. Where you go in deep, you pick one person to delete, and look to see the second she hits level 6, Darwin High School trying to make plays.
And the response is going to be the Jarvan, of course, and when you first pick a Vi very, very early on that red side, you run the risk of getting counterpicked, but already a pretty damaging comp coming from Glenuga International.
You definitely run the risk of being counterpicked, but I don't think it's happened yet. You still have very viable targets. There's no Sivir on the other team, no Morgana, no Tahm Kench. You can easily get through their front, their back line. There's nothing really inhibiting your playstyle so far. So far, so good for Darwin High School. Swain locked in for Glenuga. That's probably going down in the bot lane. Still seems weird to me, by the way, that Swain is the mainstay in bot now. But it's shown its strength. It's a great offlaner. It's great to play down there when you're expecting pressure and you want to put your jungle pressure, your team's pressure, elsewhere.
But when we're talking so much about individual talents, Swain is such a sit back, let the rest of the map make things happen. I'll catch up. Twitch was the response and really a dangerous pick to pick at this stage. Starting to ban away the 80 carries as we go into the second phase. Darwin High School, the Kaiser off the board.
It's surprising to me that they're going to ban 80 carries. Yes, Swain is a flex pick. Could still end up mid, but to me, you want that to be down in bot lane. You don't really want to be removing ADCs. You ban out mid laners.
Yeah.
Tempt them to take the Swain mid so you can then counter pick at mid. For me, A little weird to go this way, but at the same time, they have clearly come in with a plan, have Darwin High School.
At this stage, though, Tigger, and you're saying, look, the Swain could be anywhere because we've had those unique picks. Yesterday proved that anything can be anywhere. Malphite's even just been removed off the board, and Glenunga is saying, look, Yasuo loves knockups. So if Alistar goes next, I wouldn't be surprised.
I have to say, the Malphite ban makes a lot of sense purely because of how Darwin High School have drafted already. Vi and Twitch, two champions we don't see very often, especially Vi. So they are obviously playing comfort picks for their teams, their players, and very happy to go off.
And also for Darwin High School, I mean, up in Darwin, they've already got one rock. They don't want another.
On.
Makes perfect sense. The last ban is going to be the Cho'Gath, so aiming towards that top side of the map. And now, for Darwin, are they still going to play towards this Yasuo? Maybe not.
It's one of those champions where Yasuo, yes, he does benefit from the Malphite, from the Alistar, but he doesn't need them. He can do the work on himself, on his own. So it would be great to see Alistar picked here for me, for Darwin High School, but at the same time, it's redundancy there. Yep. Do you need that redundancy, or do you simply believe in your Yasuo to fend for himself?
Well, you're going to give him a bit more protection in the Shen, which was locked in at the last second. Alistar taken away, as it looks like it will be a Kalista AD carry, another champion we haven't seen. This individuality from Glenunga International so far, so good.
And Swain ends up mid. Darwin High School obviously did their homework, realized Hyunsung wasn't going to play Swain down there. Swain was going to end up mid. It's a 50-50. But when you go back through your opponent's OPGG, their match history, try and figure out what their tendencies are, suddenly becomes a lot more weighted to certain outcomes. And here, Darwin High School, they played around that, figured it out, and have done some good work.
Well, they've got some individual talent. It looks like the Thresh, the confident pick, E3PO. Not going to go on the Blitzcrank, which might suit his name, but the Thresh and the Twitch. There is a lot of potential for this comp to go boom.
You want to talk about names, all right? There is one name
I know where you go
in this game that we've evaded for now, and I think it's the best name I've seen in a competitive game, is Virgin Airlines.
Another reason why they didn't want to give him Malphite. Send him sky high.
Oh my gosh.
You want some frequent flyer points? Malphite will get you there.
This is going to continue all game, isn't it?
Yep, it might, just a little bit.
I feel bad for bringing it up.
Unfortunately, it is only the first game, Tigger, but you got many, many more hours to spend with me. At the moment, though, walk me through Northern Territory, because it feels like a very volatile comp.
It's definitely a volatile comp, and like I said before, this is a comfort comp. Most of these champions are, we enjoy playing these. These are our champions. Shen, little bit less. Shen is more of a great meta pick, works well for their comp, but everything else, you have Vi jungle, Yasuo mid with no real supplementary knockups. Yes, you have Thresh Flay, you have Vi's ultimate and her Q both knock up, but Yasuo is still being left to himself, and Twitch as well. All of these champions, they say to me, we're going to play our champions. They might not be the best meta champions, but we feel that we play these well enough, especially as a team, that it will work.
I think it's exciting, though, because we haven't seen these individual comps flourish. We've seen easy-to-execute compositions yesterday by New Zealand, and then everything else was kind of just like a hit and a miss. This time, there's the opportunity for a Twitch AD carry to hyperscale. We have ourselves a Shen to protect. Like, there's a Yasuo in there for good measure too.
I will say it's hard to compare teams to New Zealand. They look like they could do no wrong yesterday. Every single time they took a fight, everyone was escaping on 1 health. It was perfectly calculated.
But we haven't seen these teams yet, though, Tegan. There is so much opportunity for them to be the New Zealand of today.
There absolutely is. I think by the end of the day, we will find the New Zealand of the day. They have to be able to match themselves against that team who looked unstoppable. We'll find another team today that can sort of try and go toe-to-toe with them.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, hopefully it's a team like Darwin who are showing individual flair.
Only takes one game as well.
It does.
Only takes one game in this earlier stage in what we call quarterfinals here. Moving into that semis later on in the day, you go into that best of 3. You have to triumph over your opponent in a longer series. And now for South Australia at least, their composition may look a little bit easier. But, I mean, individual talent has been the name of the game so far.
I would even hazard a guess saying it's not that much easier. We have Swain mid that's a little out of position. Again, still feels weird to me to say that, but it is primarily a bot lane pick.
Or Swain mid?
Both.
Okay, yeah. So, look, don't look at me like that, Tegan. With the Swain mid, it's still being played across different regions. Like, it's not that out of position.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's Swain versus Yasuo. That we saw that in bot lane as well, so it's just moved back to where it should be, in my opinion.
Where it belongs.
It's I give the edge to Swain here, especially when you get to like post 6, where he's defending dives, defending ganks. Swain is such a durable champion, does so well defending from ganks. I think that's probably the matchup to watch today is this mid lane. Right.
Yep.
You've picked two, well, Yasuo more so than Swain, but two champions that are going to want a lot of farm. They're going to want the focus put onto them. And if Swain doesn't have the focus put on him, he'll take more of a backseat role. And I don't see a great carry potential from the South Australia lineup besides the mid lane.
But in terms of players, do you see them coupling with champions like that suit their style? So in terms of, I'm going to elaborate on this for you, T-Gun. We have, I guess we've got our lower sort of ranks or mid-tier ranks in this game. So who's the person you're looking at, and does it work with the champion they've kind of selected? Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you?
Well, I can't.
You're a pro player, or you used to be. You retired.
I can't pick Virgin Airlines because he's playing top and not Gen, so he's out of the question.
Oh,
Pretty big shame there.
Well, who else?
Well,
E3PO because he's not on Blitzcrank?
If I'm picking a support player, sure, it's going to go to E3PO. He's picked a hook champion, and that's a man after my own heart right there.
Yeah.
But it's too soon to tell. Like you said before, this is the first time we're seeing them on stage, first time we're seeing them play personally. So this is our real first reaction we have to these players, and we can't go into it and blindly pick a best player or a player to watch.
But we can talk about Virgin Airlines. We can talk about E3PO in such a passive lane, though. Like, there is so much opportunity for that bottom lane to get ahead.
It's passive, but there is a lot of potential. Anytime you have Thresh, pulling in your jungle is so exceptionally easy. Yeah. All it takes is one hook to land, and suddenly it doesn't matter that you have a passive lane. Someone will die.
Yeah.
So you look for team play. This is something we were talking about yesterday, is how well do you mesh as a team? These are young players. They haven't played together for very long. Do they have that teamwork? Do they mesh well enough together to get those sort of ganks to work?
And Shen's not the easiest champion in the sense that laning phase is pretty easy, but you need some decent map awareness. You need to know when to pop that Shen ult. And if it's wrong timing, you've ruined your chances of either getting a kill or giving your team advantage.
Even the Shadow Dash as well. If you pop that early, if you pop it just uselessly in lane.
If you Shadow Dash and flash at the end of it and you just flash over, we've seen that too many times.
Let's not even. You don't curse them. You're going to curse the player.
Not cursing.
You
no
are.
Such thing.
It's the commentator curse.
There's no T-Gun. They've said that for 10 years,
and it always happens.
Absolutely baloney. It happens because they want it to happen. Okay.
No.
But at the end of the day, it's going to be about that Shen pick, I feel, when you have such a volatile bottom lane. Like Thresh and Twitch, if they fall behind, not good. Not good.
I agree, but if the game is more roamy, more volatile, where people are getting caught out, the fights are happening in the jungles, even if you're behind as Twitch, you still can assassinate key targets. It has to be all about changing your priority, though.
Yeah.
When you're ahead, you can go on anyone. It doesn't matter if it's Aurelia, if it's Shen, it doesn't matter how tanky they are. You pop out of stealth, you do an incredible amount of damage. When you are behind, suddenly your choices are limited. You can't go on tanky targets. You can't really open on a Swain because he's not going to die. He's going to heal back the damage and just turn around and fight you.
And I feel like there's a small change in the meta as well, that we're accepting AD carries more. We've moved away from, I guess, that Swain bottom lane being a bit more stable. I have just heard news as well. There is a small delay to the start of the game, but we'll be getting in shortly, so bear with us. But in that bottom lane, now we're accepting things like Twitch again, the crit AD carries, feeling like they float a bit better.
Well, they match up a bit better, and they're just finding their place again. It's all about the patch changes, obviously. It's about just moving strength away from mages bot lane back into carries. Itemization helps as well. But we do still see things like Heimerdinger. Anyone that is really good on Heimerdinger can still play at bot lane. Not today and not yesterday so far, but it is still a power pick that has a lot of potential. It's really opened up the variety in bot lane. That's what I love. I hate that people, when mages came down to the bot lane and started seeing a lot of prominence, were saying this is bad for the game, when I think it's the complete opposite. Anything that adds variety to the game, Swain bot lane, Yasuo bot lane,
people complain about change. Oh, there's no change in League of Legends. Like, there we go. I was so excited for it. I think it added that extra flair that if AD carries couldn't adapt, then I mean, we saw in competitive play there were so many substitutions.
Well, there's arguments to be made that you can't really expect AD carries to also know a completely different subset of champions and pick up on them very quickly.
At a competitive level, absolutely. I agree with that.
It's just too difficult. They already know so many champions so intricately. Now you have to add all of these mages that fit so well in bot lane. You look at Heimerdinger, who has such a unique playstyle. There's a reason why very few AD carry players can play Heimerdinger. It's because adapting and changing your playstyle to play as you need to benefit from it is incredibly difficult.
Which kind of makes sense in this scenario, because we see our AD carries on AD carries. The Swain expected to go mid because in a tournament that is going to lead up to the grand finals on October 20, where you play live, then you're going to be like, well, we need to play our AD carry. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm known for. I'm going to stick to my playstyle.
Well, I would say it's also you want to build up that variety. You want to show that it is a flex pick. Anytime you pick something like Swain and you can't actually take it mid, suddenly it loses a lot of value. Same with Shen. If you cannot take the Shen top, if you can only play it support, there is no mystery there. There's no value in picking it early. So showing that you are versatile, can take the champions into multiple roles is going to benefit you in situations where you're playing best of threes like later today or the best of five on October 20th.
And I guess as well, we're still waiting for that development because this is the league that kind of, or the players at the very least, Tegan, don't look at that camera, at the very least, want to move up into maybe a more competitive level like the OCS. This is the first time that these guys are playing in front of the stage, and this is a fantastic opportunity for them. Tegan complained and moaned yesterday about many things, but one of them was that he didn't get the same opportunity in high school.
I mean, I wasn't moaning or complaining.
You always complain.
I was saying I wish I had these opportunities that they have. This is such a great opportunity for these players to play in front of a crowd, on stage later on is wonderful, and they can't let it go to waste. And we saw yesterday, New Zealand certainly took it straight on, knew the opportunity they had, and hopefully these teams today understand that and take it as well.
They get the opportunity to play through a best of three, which for the first time, I'd assume, because a lot of these teams wouldn't be scrimming like some of the Challenger Series teams and the OPL teams, but they would be going through and saying, right, we need to practice at least in flex or more solo queue, more individual play. They get the ability to adapt and change throughout this tournament and kind of start playing with those flexes a little bit more, playing with their competitive play style and developing throughout. And then eventually one day we hope to see them in things like the OCS and the OPL.
Yeah, well, it's difficult for them to put in as much time as they'd like to watch as we come in.
Here we go.
Because they still have to dedicate so much time to their study. You can't just disregard that and focus solely on this, even though you are representing your state.
Nah, forget it. High school's good, but League of Legends is better. South Australia taking on Northern Territory. We start the best of ones here in the High School Nationals for day number 2.
Kalista Alistair really excites me. This is a duo lane that, when it first sprung to competitive value, was so explosive, especially once you hit level 6.
We haven't talked about it enough yet, T-Gun, so Zero as well. I love, like, you're going to take Ignite on supports at the moment. E3PO has gone the more defensive route in the exhaust, but Zero wants blood, and I love that.
Can't blame him.
Ignite. Oh,
doesn't have Muka Alistair. Yasuo, little caught here.
I don't think he has to flash just yet, or maybe ever.
Got
they do get the ward though, so worth. That's one CS for a True Legend.
Definitely worth.
True Legend E, if you count the 3.
Why would it be Legend E if it's a 3?
Because it's an E.
It's a 3.
Legend. Legend.
You even said it was a 3.
Yeah, but it's an E. Like a 3 is an E. In computer talk, Tegan, you've been on the
computer talk.
Yeah, I don't know. True Legend. Okay, True Legend, just for Tegan. He's going up into our all-time favorite name of the day so far.
No, that is easily Virgin Airlines.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's going up against the favorite name. In Virgin Airlines.
Alistair
plays aggressive like we wanted to see. The flash over the wall. The Ignite's dropped down. Hyosung is just right into the back of Twitch, but it is a 3v2. Now turns on, and the exhaust is there. First blood already picked up by Hyosung. The hill there as well. Gets the Ren. Gets a double. Now over the wall. Zero's going to commit. He misses the pulverize, but Cherries is coming in. An explosive game to start. Cherries misses the Steel Tempest. And that is a double kill for a Kalista at 2 minutes in the game.
Hyosung with a perfect rend on Twitch for the first blood, then takes down Vi as well. What a play from the South Australian bot lane. They waited there, they cheesed them out a bit. Yeah, sure, you're sitting in the bush, they're not expecting you there. But to follow through, flashing the wall into the enemy tri-bush, that takes balls.
And now, speaking of which, coming up to the top side of Virgin Airlines, he's about to go mile high. The flash all the way out, and Mustachio makes a response gank.
South Australia, bot side winning, now top side, ganked and winning as well. Burn the flash of the Northern Territory top laner. Very quick out of the gates, 3 minutes in, they've already created a pretty substantial lead. Only lane we haven't seen really explode here is the mid lane, but look at this.
It's because we're only 3 minutes in,
It's a fight. Look at the Jarvan, though.
It's actually not good for Cherries. He walks back in. Mustachi's here. Cherries is going to die. He flashes, but in the wrong direction. Mustachi matches it and gives the kill over to Swain.
I said we hadn't seen it happen in mid lane. The second I do, Mustachio, fresh from top lane, down to mid. The Asian noob baiting him in, potentially the name as well.
Okay.
And Cherries goes down.
Well, already we wanted to see a very fiery game, and we've gotten that. And all I have to say about before T-Gun is Ignite. Fantastic summoner spell.
All right, so you want to argue about the Ignite versus Exhaust. When you're the Thresh, you're playing the defensive role, the Exhaust makes sense. So I can't fault him for taking the defensive summoner. As much as I am a fan of Ignite, I am a fan of the fighting, he's done the right thing. I'm not gonna fault him for it. I'd love to talk up Zero, though. Taking Ignite when you're playing Alistar, going as aggressive as they did. Perfect play for
Waiting
so
in
far.
the brush, just waiting for their prey to come to them. E3PO lands a hook now, and Zero will actually go back in. I'm not sure. Underneath the turret, he's not tanking. Mustachio is. He walks in, auto-attacks Desiree to death, and Zero still lives.
He's
How?
fine. He's gone.
What?
The strongest cow in the West.
Oh, my lord.
All it took was one slap to the face. Desiree is no more. South Australia running away with this early game.
What a start for them, especially. I mean, it's a very nice part of Australia. It's a little bit quiet, but this game goes against everything that South Australia is about.
So just because the area is quiet, we're
Nothing
expecting them to play
in South
passive.
Australia, T-Gun. Absolutely nothing, which is, again, the opposite of this top side.
I'm staying way out of this argument.
Just
like you calling New Zealand a state.
Well, no, in the last time I did, because they're in high school nationals.
Okay.
And New Zealand is representing New Zealand. It's not Auckland. It's not anything else. It's just...
They're representing a country, yeah.
Yeah. So I called it a state. Virgin Airlines, however, he has to be careful. If he goes back into this lane, True Legend will dive him. And although the W is available to the field to negate some of that damage...
Still has Shadow Dash available. Can get out.
But T-Gun, remember what I just said? Goodbye.
Spot on.
Virgin Airlines. There he goes.
No more.
No more.
True Legend, too quick. Hits the engage perfectly there. No flash, so after the Shadow Dash, no safety net, and he's gone, and the lead compounds. Every lane for South Australia doing work. Mid lane, Cherries still being aggressive, still trying to look for things, but if it goes the exact same way the first brawl did, I feel like the Asian noob will bait him in, try and bait long enough for Mustachio to make a return.
Need to see Nina get into the field a little bit at this point in time. Just been trying to catch up. Mustachio picked himself up a couple of assists, went back, and the Bammy Cinder is now his. And Nina trying to make an impact across the map, but it looks like at the moment, wondering where to go.
It is so difficult for the Vi to match Jarvan's tempo. You're really gated by your level 6. Your ultimate is so impactful. Yes, you can still get in, especially with someone like a Thresh. There's avenues to start your gank to try and get in and help your lanes. But your whole game plan, much like when you play Nocturne, you play Skarner, all you want to do is get level 6.
Yeah. So Nina going to be rushing towards that very fast. And bot side, the engage is happening again. Tegan, the flay there to knock away. But Kyosang is so big. The Ignite drop down. I think Desiree is going to die again. Nina chases away. And this time with the TP burnt through and finished off by Swain. They really want this fight. E3PO backing underneath the turret. But it's just going to be the one for now.
4 members down here. Teleport finished. This tower is under a lot of pressure and no one is here to defend. Just the Vi on her lonesome is nowhere near enough to stop this push. Tower likely to fall.
South Australia look like they're one step ahead of the Northern Territory right now. 3k gold lead, but when this turret drops, it is going to be 4. 6 kills on the board, a flawless start. At 7 minutes in the game, you have to ask, we're looking for our New Zealander today. Is this going to be the team?
It's looking like it so far. Flawless with champions as they have is the most impressive part. Down in bot lane, Zero has shown he is willing to tower dive on his own, and he still hasn't died. True Legend here, looking to go on Virgin Airlines, still has the ultimate.
Hyunsung, by the way, I'm going to take you away from there, Tegan. I know that the engage is going to happen. Is 2k gold ahead. Callista is absolutely bamboozling everyone.
That much gold, 8 minutes into the game, is probably the worst feeling to have to play against.
Yep. Oh no, Yasuo, ultimate not available, but there we go. Cherries knocks him up immediately. The first kill going over to Northern Territory. They want more for the Swain, but E3PO wants to commit. I'm not sure the communication is there. The Swain actually has flash available, wants to take Cherries, but the Demon Flare does not land, so that's merely going to be it.
Like I was saying before, Swain is more than happy to play those situations where he is being pressured. 3v1 there. and the Asian Noob didn't back away at all.
E3PO is actually coming in here. A good never move. Drop down, but remember there is no last breath. Flash there from Zero. Double pulverize. T-Gun with his mouth open because he's saying that Alistar is really ballsy. Cherries walks back in. Zero merely had to hit him, but Asian Noob does it for him. Forces the flash and the stand united. And Northern Territory burned a lot to stay alive there.
Zero just going in any opportunity he gets. He is more than happy to throw himself deep, give up his life potentially, but right now the Asian Noob is a bit too far forward.
Oh, mate, is he though, T-Gun? What? Just deletes Cherries. And Northern Territory asks the same question.
How did he get around that wind wall?
Oh, Virgin Airlines, you're going to die. Hyun-Sung, again, one hit, and he's dead. The third kill for the 80 carry.
Has he looked comfortable on this Callista or what?
Oh, yeah.
Every single round has been extremely close, if not a kill. Right there, one auto attack off. 3 kills. More than happy to dive a Shen 1v1.
Yeah, Virgin Airlines getting stuck at the airport. Honestly, at this point, you've got so many complaints, and South Australia just honestly on a different aircraft entirely. Stop it, T-Gun. 3-0-2 now. Blade of the Wrong King, that's going to be coming shortly. I guarantee Hyun-Sung probably has a gold for it, at least. The majority of the components.
If he finishes that before 10 minutes, if you're Northern Territory, if you're looking at the Callista, it is so daunting. Mustachio there trying to get onto Nina, but like I said before, by a very slippery champion, not really impeded by the Jarvan.
Nothing's going to happen for it. Meanwhile, though, Desiree gets his first kill, but at the cost of a turret.
Finds the Swain in mid lane, a little overextended, and to Asian Noob, he'd been doing that all game, is not really showing a lot of respect to the potential ganks because of the strength of this champion. This time a little too far forward. Desiree gets the kill, and that's what Northern Territory need. They have to find people sleeping, essentially. Find them out of position, not paying the respect they need to, catch up slowly. This isn't a position where you can look at and say, we can get back into this with one big fight, with one big objective. This is a grind to get back into the game for them.
But having said that, if they can, as we look at this replay, it won't be hard.
It was all E3PO. Perfect hook into play under the turret, survives on a sliver of health, leaves it to Desiree on a platter.
This robot making magic happen. Also realize he has the Wild Wild West Thresh. As he edges ever so close to that brush, it is warded, and it's a 4-man stack, make that 5-man stack around the dragon. So Northern Territory, of course, just have to give this one up.
Well, there's no robot Thresh, no way to live up to his name. So.
That's why I asked for the Blitzcrank T-Gun. Would have made you happy, would have made me happy. All go home happy. There's the Ocean Drake. Next one is going to be Infernal by the looks of it. That is an ult. Fate's Call into the Pulverize. Zero misses the combo. E3PO gets out and an ultimate down.
Once again, Zero just going aggressive. No matter what. He knows he is the main engage for this team. Jarvan is there, but generally as a backup.
Again, T-Gun. Hooks there. Cherry's in once more. This time the Wombo combo, the box laid down. A 3-man ultimate. Cherry still lives. Almost takes down Asian Noob, who dies to the turret, but in the backside, the Callista free hitting a stand. United, Shadow Dash. Desiree underneath the turret. The Twitch starting to clean this one up, and everything actually going okay for the Northern Territory. Zero lives. True Legends lives, but at the end of the day, Northern Territory fight back.
You kite back under the turret, let your Twitch free hit on the backline. Sure, Callista was doing the same, but Twitch, even with just a BF sword, putting out an incredible amount of damage.
And they're sticking around here as well, Tiga.
Alistar, Zero, like I said, being aggressive constantly might bite him here.
There's a BF sword on Desiree, so still doing a lot of damage when he goes back. Let's hope that evolves to something else, but the Twitch got the resources here, Tiga, and that's all that mattered.
Here's the engage. Watch for the Yasuo ultimate here, locking people under the turret. It's a little sketchy to begin with, but he hits the key target. Swain cannot do anything, dies to the turret, and now watch Twitch just kiting, making sure he stays alive. Shen soaking so much damage, and even though Jarvan ultimate's on top of Desiree, it doesn't matter. All the ultimate does is ensure True Legend and Zero can survive.
And now, because of that, we've got ourselves a much more competitive game. The start was dominating by South Australia, but Northern Territory find one fight, and really off the back of E3PO again gets a box around 4 members. T-Gun is exciting because this high noon Thresh is actually bloody good.
Thresh doing work for his team. The unsung hero is always the support. I'm going to stand by that no matter what. In every fight, we see him landing the key hook, landing the key flay to ensure Desiree can get the damage down. It's not flashy. It's not someone like Zero going into a backline, knocking up 3 people.
Yep.
But it's enough to ensure sustained damage can come through.
He wants to do it once again. T-Gun, this time Desiree on the side. The teleport's there. The hook lands onto Zero, so the fight started with a rat-a-tat-tat knocked into the air. That's enough of that, they say. Zero knocks him up, shut down once again. This time onto the Alistar. They'll take the Rift Herald too.
E3PO tried so hard to save his ADC there, but it wasn't enough. Twitch goes down, Rift Herald also falls, and for South Australia, it seemed like they were struggling to break this mid tower. Rift Herald will make that much easier.
This turret's going to go down. The tier 2 is now what they have to worry about, and Virgin Airlines caught out once again. The frequent flyer program is over. He'll be knocked back. The hook this time misses from E3PO, and the tier 2 drops with the Rift Herald. They're looking for a third. They've found Shen eventually. And mistakes out of the Northern Territory. This might cost them the inhibitor turret, or at least some damage within.
Another charge from Rift Herald. I said that they were struggling to break open the mid lane. They weren't finding avenues to snowball that lead they had earlier. Now, that mid inhibitor turret is a stiff breeze from falling over. All it will take is one mistake from Northern Territory, and South Australia can take that inhibitor and have full control of the game.
Speaking of that control, look at it again. This time, you know, we were focusing on the bottom side of the map. I'm looking at the top side. From True Legend, who has now skyrocketed ahead, will soon have that Trinity Force. It's sitting at about 2,000 gold. The only lane to not have this same impact is that mid lane. The Asian Noob has fallen behind a little bit of cherries, and now with the pick out on Desiree, he has to flash. Goes invisible, but the ultimate used by Nina. Rat-a-tat-tat. Asian Noob comes in with a Demon Flare, deletes him. Might actually survive a little bit longer. Mustachio comes in as the Asian Noob goes golden, and Nina was so close, but so far. Meanwhile, Hyunsung picks up cherries, and it's a 3-for-0 across the map.
Northern Territory trying their best there to find a pick to claw their way back in, but every single person goes down to South Australia's quick reactions. They chase everyone down, and now this mid-turret, Thresh and Shen are your only defenders. That is not enough to stop the South Australian squad.
No, and if they stick around, Virgin Airlines and Expo are going to die. Sorry, E3PO. Desiree wants to make the play, but he doesn't have an ultimate. And Hyunsung right now, if he's on top of you, you are not going to see the end of the day. Inhibitor goes down. Northern Territory now. It's getting dire.
8,000 gold lead at 16 minutes is incredible. All Northern Territory can do to hope for a comeback now, like I said before, is find a straggler, find a pick. You have the tools to do that. Vi and Twitch both do great at running around looking for a stray target. But South Australia, they never look like they're alone. They are always there for their teammates, able to collapse. Look at right now, Mustachio not on his own. The Asian Noob ready to help him out.
Just goes straight back in. Asian Noob may miss up the Never move, but he's still got the ultimate available. Doesn't cast it. Maybe he doesn't, sorry. And Mustachio just has to get out of there. A mistake that Northern Terry capitalized on, and with the Blast Cone used well, Mustachio survives, but loses his mid laner.
Nina also survives on a sliver of health, so Northern Territory doing exactly that, finding the stragglers. Yes, there were 2 of them, but they weren't strong enough.
He's going to get caught out as well. T-Gun, hook shot, walk shot, Hextech ultimatum, cherries. Up he goes, down he goes. He will not live to see the end of the day either. Ignite the flashboard from True Legends, but the rat-a-tat-tat. Who can at 5? Enough of that. Here we go, Desiree. He's still free hitting on the backside. Zero misses, but he eventually pulverizes with a flash. Desiree forced into the enemy team and goes down for the triple kill for Hyunsung.
Hyunsung looking incredible, and you see the ping on the mid lane. South Australia want to end this game pre-20 minutes.
I mean, that is a feature in itself. Nina trying to defend by himself, but T-Gun, that might be it despite the low death timers.
You will have the Yasuo, potentially the Thresh as well, and you have to go in right now, Nina. You cannot wait any longer.
It misses the Vault Breaker all the way in. Will ult to the backside. Nexus not even being targeted as True Legend cleaning up. Hyunsung cannot be touched either. A double kill to the Camille, and they're walking forward. The fight may continue, but the Nexus is still dropping, and South Australia making a bit of a statement here as they clean up the backside. They clean up everyone who walks into this Callista. A double for the second time in a game, and South Australia move on.
Somehow, over the course of that game, Zero did not die.
Somehow.
Now,
Some way.
normally, when you look at someone like Alistair with 0 deaths, you think to yourself, were they playing too passively? Were they not putting themselves in harm's way? Were they playing for KDA?
Zero was not.
He was not. He was throwing himself in. He was diving. He was fighting 24/7. And every single time he survived. That is impressive.
There's going to be props going out to South Australia. They fell behind. No, they lost one fight. And things started looking pretty bad as Northern Territory clawed their way back up. But immediately, South Australia regained that lead again and capitalized.
It was just one fight that was lost. That was it.
Yeah.
Everything else looked South Australia's way. After that fight, they regrouped, didn't sort of lose their focus, made sure they worked on objectives, straight back to Rift Herald, for example. And Northern Territory, they couldn't find another big opening.
But no Baron.
They found a pick, and that was it.
There was absolutely no Baron in that game. We didn't even get to the point where Baron spawned.
20 minutes.
It was, I guess you'd have to say that that is a clean end.
Without a doubt. Like I said, there was one misstep. There was that one fight at mid where they got a little too hyphy. They were feeling themselves. They wanted to just go big, go dive the tower.
Yeah, as you do.
And after that, they reeled it in. They said to themselves, you know what? We have a huge lead. We tried it. It was fun, but we don't want to give it away. Let's refocus, go get Rift Herald, start working through objectives.
It was a good effort, however, by the Northern Territory, Virgin Airlines and E3PO. I think E3PO needs to be called out individually. However, moving forward is South Australia. We're going to have a short break. When we return, the second half of our bracket coming up next. And welcome back to the High School Nationals for day number 2. I'm Jake Asterix, Penko, Bradley Tegan Seymour right here. And now it is Jake Spawn Tiberi's State taking on WA.
Melbourne, by the way.
Melbourne, by the way. This is good. I know he doesn't own the state. Thank you very much, producer. The main thing to note here, though, is that Melbourne High School, that's the name. Like, it is Melbourne High School. That is fancy. I went to my high school was like, I'm not going to say it, but it was just like a town, a small town, not Melbourne High School.
I'm sure we have a Sydney High School in New South Wales.
I think we have Sydney boys, we have Sydney girls.
Yeah, so why is it so impressive?
Because it's fancy. They're fancy schools as well.
That's not innately a fancy school.
Does not matter. Melbourne High School, though, down in Victoria, taking on WA, which I've never been to. Have you been to WA?
No. Too far away.
It's so far away. I've been to Singapore, and I feel like that's the same distance. It's not really, but it kind of feels like the same distance. Anyway, but WA, it's just so hard.
You're struggling.
Where my producer's just likes just telling me his life story in my ear.
No, you were like, oh, it feels like the same difference.
It does.
First of all, everyone knows it isn't. But he had to clarify it
Singapore
for you
Airport's really nice as well, by the way. But look, let's stay into Australia. For this next matchup, though, T-Gun, walk me through what's the team, the favourite players. Because you'd tell me before, and this is how I set you up.
All right. Well, again, it's the first time we've seen them on stream. It's the first time we've seen them play personally. So all I've been able to do is run through their OPGGs, find out how they play in solo queue, in ranked, in flex, and work from there. And in my eyes, just from that, a slight favorite, not even, I would say this is like close to a 55-45 worst case, would be Western Australia.
And why is that?
One of their players is in Diamond. He's looking pretty solid, very likely their carry. Everyone else plays supportive roles, and when they're playing as 5, they do that in their 5 games. They put the focus on him, let him sort of dictate the pace.
On that side note, though, getting Diamond in high school is a pretty good achievement.
Yeah.
Like, I think Diamond or anything higher in high school is like, you really, really balance your time well.
Well, it could also be that they're just naturally talented at the game.
Or that they've really... You need some time to get into Diamond, T-Gun. Like, I've spent 7 years and I'm still gold. Like, I
think the issue there is between the desk
No,
and the chair.
I think it's about time, especially. But however... yeah, okay. However, moving forward into this next matchup, I think it will be more about than that individual player. What we just saw was South Australia all across the map working as more cohesive unit. That's actually probably the most cohesive unit I think we've seen so far.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I'd say that was exactly like the New Zealand games where every single lane won, and then once the lanes had finished, they came together as a team.
New Zealand worked better individually, I feel. I feel like New Zealand were just a better all-round individual players.
It's hard to say that with the limited outlook we've had of the team. It's hard to make that decision. I would sort of say, yes, New Zealand, they proved themselves as individual players. They never had the necessity to come together as a team to show great team fights because each player was so far ahead, and that was sort of the same that game. Every lane won. The only lane that was questionable was the mid lane with the Asian noob. He was not struggling. He wasn't ahead. He was even. Now, to go from there, it's not like he didn't win. It's not like he was a detriment to his team.
I got excited. Sorry, the music came on. I'm like, here we go. Are we partying or are we getting in? At this point, now you're saying who's going to be joining South Australia, T-Gun. Let's jump in. Melbourne High School taking on Willerton Senior High School, from WA.
Before we even talk about who's joining South Australia, let's talk about who's joining the S-tier name club with Virgin Airlines. And I'm going 99.95 ATAR.
Oh, he's setting himself up for success, T-Gun. That's good mentality having jumping into League of Legends.
Calling out what he's going to get well in advance while performing in the high school league. What a player.
There's confidence. This pick and bans, let's jump into it though, because we've got some similar stuff on the board, and after watching what Zero did last game on that Alistar, immediately it was banned away by WA.
Yeah, I don't think it was because of how Zero played it, but
I feel like it
probably could have been a factor. That was a pretty impressive Alistar game, but yet again, most of these bans are tailored towards a player. Ashe, I want to talk about this just for a second, is a great pick globally, but not something we've seen in the Oceanic scene.
Yep.
The players don't seem very comfortable on the champion. A great engage AD carry. A lot of the utility that Varus also brings, but in a different way. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is wonderful. Great go button, very easy to understand. Removed here today. Obviously, they've looked at Peanut and said, we don't want to see that today.
Yeah, seems like they're really targeting out his AD carry pool. Kaiser was the first one. Zach, the response there from WA. And so far, we have just seen so many different junglers, so many different AD carries.
We've seen Vi.
We just saw Vi. I never thought we'd see her again.
Well, certainly not in competitive, but it's being brought back. Like I've said before, these are the comfortable picks for these players. These are what they know.
Anything goes. And to make your name here in a best of one, you want those individual picks. It was a good attempt there, and especially picking up something like a Vi. But the Jarvan, stock standard, just worked out better. Nami was the final ban. Let's see if we see again that stock standard, or if we go a little bit out and play with flexibility as Rakan is the final ban.
When we look at the ban, Willerton Senior High School with Mushroom Zac also banned Zac, a little bit of counterproductiveness there. But it goes back towards sort of standard things.
Oh.
None of the bans are really outlandish. Nami, Rakan, they might not be the S tier, the ban-worthy picks, but they're obviously champions that the Willerton Senior High School Club are competent at.
Speaking of picks, you wanted to see the Forest take, and they've handed to you a little bit there. And Galio, they're just locking in picks left, right, and center. After seeing Varus, you go, hey, how do we disrupt this comp even more? The confidence of Lee Sin, his name's Vision, by the way, and Galio locked in.
Well, Varus, I was saying that Ashe is picked for the engage, for the utility, and Varus is much of the same. And when you remove Ashe, that is the next best champion to pick for that utility. Kai'Sa also off the table, so you're not really trending to go towards a hyper carry. Yes, we've seen Vayne before. We've also seen Tristana, two champions that can go that way, but Melbourne High School obviously opting for a different route.
Yep.
Following it up with Morgana would aid towards that engage. Morgana, Varus. Engaging in bot lane is so incredibly reliable.
I mean, you still have the flex of Gragas as well, Tegan. Let's not forget Gragas. He picks any lane he wants to at the moment, apart from mid or AD carry.
I mean, we've seen Gragas mid before. That's an ode to Skara.
We've seen Morgana mid.
We have.
You remember that.
I do.
Very, very well.
Don't want to talk about it.
No, you do not. That makes perfect sense. So, Varus Morgana seems to be the pick at the moment, but we'll keep our eyes on that lane at the moment. WA, they've already set themselves up with hard aggression, hard engage. And it looks like they'll couple that with the Sivir.
Well, you look at WA, and you're right. That is aggression, that is engage. Then you look at Melbourne High School. Look at Victoria's squad so far. It is disengage, it is utility. Gragas Barrel, great tool to escape from engage. Varus can throw his ultimate readily while backing off. So can Morgana, Black Shield, useful as well. So we see two very different, very combative archetypes in these teams so far. And in this sort of a setup, I give the edge to the Victoria squad.
That's why I was so, I guess, proud of the Sivir pick, because you have to be confident to pick Sivir into a composition like this, where everyone so far is going to lock you down.
Well, you look at it, and we always talk about this as ease of execution. It is always easier to execute the engage side than the disengage side. All of the champions on Willerton so far have very clear go buttons. You throw the Sivir ultimate, Lee Sin gets on the backline, Galio jumps in with him, and suddenly a teamfight is going to happen whether you like it or not.
What do they pair it with, though? Because they've started to ban it at the top side of the map, making sure that whatever goes up there, whether it is the Galio, which we rarely see, is not going to be hit hard. The Karma the Response ban.
One thing that could happen, and this is a bit of an outlier, is the Galio could flex to support. We see so many support bans right now. Karma, Nami, Alistair, Rakan, all taken away. Potentially a fifth one here from Victoria. Having that flexibility, opening up your top, your mid picks, and still retaining that engage on your team could be a very worthwhile tool here for Western Australia.
It could be, but they've gotten rid of further engage from that top side of the map. The Aatrox, and seems like they're not going to be looking to pick up something as hard-hitting. Brom, the third and final support, Tegan, you said they were targeting it. They just smacked down the mustache man in the bottom side.
Really limiting that pull. Braum recently copped a nerf in 8.18, but is still a mainstay pick, still so useful in defending your key targets. And now the decision is on Western Australia. Do we flex Galio down there? It isn't that great in support. Or do we go with Zyra?
Why not?
That's an aggressive pick that I wasn't expecting.
I think a lot of the picks here, Tegan, we haven't expected. I think this game so far has been a little bit more standard than we've expected, especially from Victoria.
Well,
apart from Galio, Lisa in the first two.
And Zyra. I don't think any of the champions on Willerton Senior High School squad right now are standard picks.
Okay, so it's still been a little bit more standard. A little bit is the key word.
I'm not sure I agree with you there, but the Zyra pick down in bot lane against Morgana is a very, very good pick.
Yep.
If you are quick enough and talented enough, you can block Morgana binds with your plans.
Think about the burst damage there as well. If Galio gets into a fight, someone is going to die.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Lee Sin Zyra, boom. That's it. I'm sorry, I was going to say bam, pop. I thought maybe not.
You're doing your best.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all we can ask
the
for.
final SmackDown lock. So, again, Melbourne High School, what is it about Blue Side and just picking very simple compositions?
Not just simple, it makes sense into Willetton School's comp. Melbourne High School have the peel back, the play for the consistent damage, play for the long con team comp.
Yeah.
Where you want your front line, your Ornn, to soak a lot of the pressure as you peel back and start working through the team front to back. Whereas Willetton High School, they have really built this let's get in there, let's fight comp. Zyra exemplifies that, where you just throw everything you have at them. Hopefully it's enough damage, because after you've used all your abilities, that's it. The fight better be over.
And it feels like they've built a bit of a safety net in the Sivir as well. So at the moment, WA throwing the gauntlet a little bit, I feel. Showing us what a true early game should look like, but now it's up to that execution. And especially since Melbourne High School, the later this game goes, T-Gun, what are you looking at? Are you just saying, all right, Melbourne High School, like, it's Cassiopeia.
Well,
then again, it's Sivir who gets 500 CS.
The later it goes, the more dangerous Sivir becomes. The more dangerous Zyra will become. Whenever you have a mage in support, scaling isn't an issue for your team, because you will have a fifth and more powerful pick as opposed to looking at Morgana, who is always going to retain utility but doesn't scale that well with items.
I like the ambition though here, and that's what I've always loved about these high school players, is the fact that they will just pick whatever they want, whatever's comfortable. And I know, again, like beating the dead horse here, we've said it day after day, but there cannot be as much hype placed as as I'm saying now. You can even put in more, I don't know what English is, so just bear with me. Zyra is such a unique pick.
Yep.
And if this goes well, then you say, whew, now I want to play Zyra. You feel it, you know?
You're reading into it a bit too much, but I have to get on the hype train here.
Simplify it a bit for me.
Zyra as a pick is always wonderful to watch. The damage output, the amount of care you have to take into that lane. One mistake is all it takes to overextend and die as Zyra. Caught by an errant Morgana Q, caught by a Varus ulti, suddenly all you can do to stem the tide, to stop them from killing you, is just throw out all your abilities and hope. Because you are so flimsy. You are so killable. A single gank coming down there, again, you just have to stand your ground. You cannot get out. There is no mobility there. So for me, the real lane to watch is the Zyra. Like you said, we're looking at individual style. We're looking at the person themselves saying, I am throwing the gauntlet, I will carry. The Zyra is a champion that will exemplify that.
It might be volatile, though, but there is so much global pressure. You've got a Galio mid, you've got a Shen top. They are going to join every single time. That is going to be a 4- or 5-man bot every time a fight starts. So I think, although you've got Sivir Zyra, there is not going to be much issue if you execute wisely.
I don't think it will be every time. Like I said, Zyra is very susceptible to engage
every 2.5 minutes.
Yep.
Because Galio, Heroic Entrance and Stand United, Shen and Galio's ult respectively, are on 2.5-minute timers.
Yeah, they're quite long early on.
But you build CDR.
That's where you start punishing the Zyra. You want to get in there early before the Shen can come down, before the Galio gets involved. That is when the power swings to the opposite side, because you're right. They will just start a party in the bot lane. It will be a 4. It will be a 5-man fight. And that you will lose that one. You want to get the Zyra early game. Get her level 3, level 4, before she starts bringing all of that power to fights, before the Shen, before the Galio can start being that front line that she so desperately needs.
But I think the interaction's important as well, because if this Zyra, just doesn't find an avenue, or at least cannot find anything in the early parts of the game, you know, Zyra with no resources, it's okay. You have base damage.
You still do plenty of damage.
You still do a little bit. You
cannot discount the damage that Zyra does.
But not as much as if, you get your ball roll.
Well, that is how League of Legends work. When you have more gold, you do more damage.
Okay, look.
All right.
Look, Tegan.
Figured it out.
I'm just trying to be helpful.
Now you can climb.
I'm just trying to help the viewers understand what it really is all about.
It's all about winning today. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Best of one. You have thrown the gauntlet when you're Western Australia. You've picked these champions that are very volatile. You've picked this composition that's very easy to execute. You just want to fight. Simple as that. When you hit level 6, hit the go buttons, try and fight, try and get in on objectives, take the fight to the other team.
The fight wants to come through as well from Victoria. I mean, you've got a Cassiopeia, you've got an Ornn. Ornn is like the go button, the majestic ram, finds its way into a fight, and then you're like, how am I going to survive now? there is nothing that negates that. Like, for Zyra, you sacrificed or you lost Brom, but there were other things like, you're not going to pick Yasuo, but there were other things that could make an impact against the Ornn.
Well, you're right that Victoria has the counterplay. You have the Cassio Ornn, like you said, but that is significantly harder to execute. And we always come back to ease of execution. What is easier? Throwing all your buttons on one person and killing them, or having everyone intricately peel back and protect two key targets?
All right. I mean, that's fair, but honestly, the Ornn Horde is like this big. You know, like here's Summoner's Rift, right? That's Ornn Horde.
That is not how it works.
Okay, Summoner's Rift, Ornn Horde.
No, you're still wrong.
It is still big. I am not. I think you're mistaken. Ornn and Cassiopeia, some pretty, I guess, standard stuff. However, in the bottom side of the map, we're going to be looking there anyway. I feel like standard versus maybe a little bit extroverted? Extravagant?
Extravagant's the right word.
Thank you so much.
I would give the edge to Victoria. Like I said, if they are able to exploit the weakness there, get onto the Zyra early, Sivir doesn't provide much in terms of cover or dueling power. They can generate a huge lead early on. That is what it will take for them to move into the mid game and have an easier time against this really difficult comp that Western Australia have put together.
Well, that's the question. What do you spell shield in this game? But Victoria and WA, they jump onto the Rift now. Best of one in the quarterfinals. Moving forward, they want to take on South Australia in that next best of three, but they have to win this game. It comes down to one composition. Go button on the right, go button on the left. Who explodes first?
Well, for me, Victoria will be the one to explode. Like I said before, Western Australia, they can be so aggressive. They have so much damage and a very easy comp to play through. All they want to do is run straight at the opponents and kill them. There is no finesse about it. There is no intricacies. It is throwing your bodies at the opponents and hoping that you are stronger than them. And I have to say, Galio, Shen, two extremely good champions for that sort of playstyle.
They definitely are. I think it's been a while as well since we've seen a Galio on the Rift in international play. I know I constantly bring it up. I'm not going to apologize for it. We see the Galio coming back in. We see Galio being quite a stable pick. But I don't think in OCE, in a long time, we've seen Shen in the top side, Galio in the mid, working together for a common purpose.
I love the comp. I do love these fight comps because it provides such a clear goal. Like I said before, get to level 6 and run at them. There is no finesse. There is no thought process. It is our ultimates are available. Let's dive into someone. Let's go on the Cassio. Let's go on the Varus. Get the Lee Sin in there and all pile in behind him.
Yeah, create that duress at this point. Probably going to be looking at the mid lane a little bit as well, how it moves around. And it's the debut of these players on our screen. Tegan pointed out 99.95 ATAR.
Wonderful name. Absolutely
fantastic name, but probably not going to be looking up there that much this game until we get to that mid stage where we see him moving around the map. He has taken Unsealed Spellbook, which is, I mean, we're seeing Grasp again in the top side, so Tegan, explain.
Grasp is a very, in my eyes, average summoner. It's all about sustain, and I don't think you need that sustain up here. Unsealed Spellbook will let him get active on the map earlier and try and follow the Shen around, which is going to be the difficult task for him. Try and keep pace with the Shen when it comes to roaming to other lanes, and that's where Ornn really needs to worry. Unsealed makes sense in that regard. Will also help him start with Ignite, Exhaust. If any ganks start to, show their head up in top lane, he can take Ignite preemptively. He can take Exhaust preemptively. Try and help his jungler out to put down the Shen.
It's like he's thinking one step ahead, but Willow Andy gets a better trade there. And yes, it is going to be like this for a long time. However, Willow Andy, I mean, as soon as he lands that Shadow Dash, kill threat after a couple of times, especially when the W is going to negate quite a lot of that, Mr. Tegan, sir.
It's really tough to kill either of these top laners. Both of them have a lot of sustain.
I let us do this, I'm sorry.
Both of them have disengage, have engage. Realistically, I don't think the junglers want to end up there.
All right, well, we won't look there again. How about that?
Well, you can look there if they overextend, for example, if Willow Andy really shoves Ornn under the turret and keeps that pressure up. But apart from that, if I'm Victoria, I'm looking at Mushroom Zac. I want to kill the Zyra. If I'm Western Australia, I want to go mid. There is so much CC that the Galio puts out in ganks that you are so receptive there. Cassiopeia is an easy target to land on. Once you burn the cleanse, burn the flash, re-ganking becomes extremely easy.
On a side note, there's actually an invade coming in. Vision has just taken away the big raptor, and Pronome has to get out of there. He flashed over that wall.
Very quick flash. He knew the Galio was there in tow, and already early team play from Western Australia, recognizing where Gragas was, knew that they could get the invade there, and that's what you want to see from these young teams, is budding chemistry between the players.
Oh, and even a lane gank coming through. Siva and Zyra. It's been a while.
Here is where you play the bait. You hang the Zyra out a little bit too far forward. Maybe you catch a bind. Try and entice the enemy in so the Lee Sin can get in and you can fight them. You win this 3v3 as Western Australia. If Gragas comes, it doesn't help Victoria.
He's backing away though. Vision
no patience.
Doesn't want to waste time. Yep.
No patience.
Let's make sure he's not wasting anything whatsoever, but at the end of the day, would it have worked? Eventually. As a side note, not my favorite Siva skin. The reason is because I think of Sneaky now with it, and I just don't know how to feel about that.
It's fine. It's the best Siva skin.
Yeah.
I use what do I use when I play Siva? I play quite a lot of Siva when I play ADC.
See, I like the pack
It's an easy
Siva.
champion.
I've got the second pack Siva though, not the OG. I don't mind pack Siva. You don't like it?
I just play default skin.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of default skin.
Okay. Well,
I'm not an extravagant person.
I'm sorry, but that's boring.
I'm not an extravagant person.
What Blitzcrank skin do you play then? Do you play
Built over customs because it makes you a car. All right. Vision coming in here up top.
Yeah.
Shen receptive to ganks, but look at where Ornn is. There is so much distance. However,
he wants to get the outplay.
He's buying time. Look at Gragas coming up the river.
Flame Breath comes through. Pronome uses Predator, runs straight on in. He will not be able to find the body slam, but the barrel will hit Willow Andy. He walks back in. A big mistake, maybe. Atar jumps forward, but he can't get the damage. In comes the Ornn, but it's too late. First blood, Vision slowed down, but Pronome is going to die here. And one mistake cost them a double kill.
Willow Andy baits it perfectly. It looked like a mistake. He stutter stepped backwards trying to dodge the barrel and then cops the combo. But he saves his dodge field. He saves everything. And by the time the commit happens, the tower helps him out. And suddenly, that Shen turns it around. I said we weren't likely to see anything happen up there. But it was baited by 99.95 Atar. Tried to buy time for the Gragas. It was looking like the correct decision. But the turnaround was there, and now Vision looking for Cassiopeia.
I mean, he got 2 kills. He wants them all to flash forward. Tech Clown, Justice Punch, wham bam, thank you, man. Minko finds a petrifying gaze. The turnaround, the mistake is made again. The Justice Punch cannot find its mark. Willow Andy comes in, a messy fight, but who benefits the most? It's Minko and Cassiopeia.
You see the Western Australia squad's thought process. Let's dive, let's fight, let's engage. Teleport there to help. You have everyone going in, but Victoria with the response. Win that handily. Very easy defense there. The
Look
dive.
at that buy, Tiga.
Cassiopeia benefiting massively from it.
Lost Chapter, Tear of the Goddess. What else could you want on your first back?
Nothing.
Miko may have burned both summoners, but that mid lane now just spiced up. And Miko, oh boy, now the new player to watch.
The worst thing there for Western Australia is the loss of ultimates.
Yeah.
Galio and Shen both use their ultimate there to try and make that work. Now, as I said before, there's no cover for Zyra. When you start getting hit by those binds there, all of that poke damage is being thrown at you. You are such a flimsy and easy to kill target. Have to play so passively, so carefully, almost scared of the opponents. It really negates the power of the pick.
Miko getting jumped on again though. T-Gun Vision comes back in. The kick available and deleted as Vision stops the Cassiopeia further.
No summoners for Cassiopeia. Very easy engage for Galio. So much utility in that kit. And once Lee Sin is there to help, Cassio has no counterplay. Nothing she could do. Deleted very easily.
I mean, smart decision making there from Vision. He gets a kill mid. He walks towards the Infernal. Pronome probably going to try and steal this, but he will die if he goes in. Actually,
it's worth. It's an Infernal.
WA, they're going to pull it out. I thought they were disengaging, but it's okay.
He's going to go for it.
In the backside, it goes in, misses. Explosive cast does not kill Vision. Now Pronome stuck in the back of the pit, but WA, go kill him. Gragas.
He's safe. He's fine. There was assistance there. The Varus Morgana were willing to help out Pronome, make sure he could survive. Look at the health bars on Western Australia. Lee Sin, for example, on barely alive. They got the objective, they back out. The safe play, the smart play in that situation.
Woo! Top lane still, 2 fridges connect. And both of them come out alive.
Recalling on a ward.
Classic.
It's always fun.
Oh no,
wow.
Actually the flash forward, the Chains of Corruption lands as well, the Ignite works out. Synthesize makes the play happen.
Like I said before, the second that bind hits, the only option you have is to stand your ground.
I feel like that was a 5,000 IQ play. Gragas backs on the ward. You're like, oh, he's backing, he's done anyway. Although he's not a factor, you feel confident to walk forward again.
I think you're reading too much into it.
No, I think...
It was as simple as bind landed from Synthesize. As soon as that happens, you flash forward and you throw everything you have.
I think it was next level, T-Gun.
All right.
I don't think you should take it away from Victoria.
All right.
You know, they've got a lot of things, but...
They don't have 99.95 ATAR.
Well, actually, yes,
they do. All right, yeah, maybe it was him. The genius. The madman.
At the moment, you can see that...
Wasn't in the play, but commanding them from the top lane.
You can see that another smart aspect is Vision going in for the roam again. He's between 3 people, though. Pronome is going to get hit. The kick's there. The Justice Punch going to come through with a heroic leap into the fight. The top laner dead now. The Clowns picks up that kill and it works out.
Once again, it is so much easier to engage than disengage. Everything thrown on Vision there, and he's fine. Takes no damage at all. Easy kill on the Ornn. Now mid lane turret under siege. Can be defended, but it is difficult.
Binding throws out at misses Vision. Next Sonic Wave might be taken into the Resonating Strike. Half the health gone of that mid lane turret. WA stick around. 4 members mid. Sivir sits bot. This next wave, they take it, or maybe it'll just be the blue buff for now.
They take the jungle, take control of the top side. You can't get the objective straight away. You do the next best thing. Take control of the map. Make sure that the next pick does lead to the objective. And Vision taking away even more camps, much like we saw White Pallet do. Whenever you have a lead, you have priority, you want to fight for every single thing in the enemy jungle. But Vision is on his own here.
He just turns onto Pronome. The kick is available, I believe. No, it's not. There's on a cooldown there. Vision, the stun misses, goes on the Pronome, takes the 1v2. Miko comes back in as Willow, and he fails the flash. Now just has to sit here and take it. There may be a kill on the bottom side, but Miko picks up his 3rd.
You hate to see it.
You absolutely do, Tegan.
Oh, it's painful to watch. It's even worse when it happens to you. Unlucky for Willow Andy, only in that position because he was trying to save Vision, but Vision had already pulled off the impossible. Turned around that 2-for-1 into a 1-for-1. Suddenly, very explosive game. Completely opposite side of the map where I thought it would. Down in bot, we see yet again, it's a bind, it's a kill.
Yeah.
There is no finesse about it. Once you hit Zyra, she is gone. Peanut sticks around to help as best he can, but there is no damage output there.
In the moment, slowly but surely, Liquid Sandwich and Synthesizer climbing up. A kill each, a small lead. Rest of the map,
I have
kind
to
of
say,
equalizing. Yeah.
Liquid Sandwich, what a disgusting name.
Why?
It's the worst sounding thing ever.
What's wrong with a liquid sandwich?
What's right about it?
I mean, it's not how a sandwich should be.
It's the worst type of sandwich.
Some people have, you know, some people like to eat liquid sandwiches, Tegan.
Who?
I don't know.
Name them.
People who have sore gums. People who have sensitive teeth. You want to eat a sandwich, you can't. Put it into liquid form.
I doubt it.
Well,
I highly doubt it.
Liquid sandwich. I think you should have your wisdom teeth out and then find out what you want to eat.
My wisdom teeth are coming in perfectly. Don't have to
Well,
have them out.
mine got taken out, Tegan, and I had
Unlucky.
a liquid sandwich.
Was it good?
No, it wasn't.
Then why are you defending it?
Because some people don't have a choice.
Get out of here.
Oh, well, I would if I could, but unfortunately I'm kind of stuck with you here again. Liquid Sandwich, however, as the name may discuss T-Gun, what's not disgusting is his play so far. The wombo combo of those two players has been
Clean.
spot on. Yeah.
Clean down in the bot lane. I expected there to need to be ganks there. You wanted to bring people in. Instead, Synthesize landing the binds perfectly, and every time he does from here on,
Lane to watch.
there is kill threat.
Talked about it being the lane. Eyes on the prize, and Mushroom Zach, as we do come in with a pause. I guess it was the liquid sandwich. Just a bit of the liquid sandwich there, Tegan.
Who knows what happened. We'll know in a second. We'll update you. But just to take stock of the game, There's been so much happening all across the map, and it seems like the bottom side for Victoria is their real strength. There's no jungle activity. They're just doing it on their own. On the opposite side, every time Galio ult is up, every time Shen ultimate is up, Western Australia looking to invade, looking to fight.
Oh, we're back in. All right. Maybe it wasn't the liquid sandwich, but all the same, Vision actually waiting here in the bottom side brush. I don't think it's been spotted out, but they've got maybe a little bit of an idea. Jungler coming in as response as well.
Galio also hovering down on the bot side, so potential here for it to all pop off. Shen ultimate is available, and like you said, when these ultimates are available, Western Australia want to fight. They're trying to get this to happen. Pronome waiting in the tri-bush, starting to come around now.
Jumping in, Vision's there on the backside, the kick's on. The 80 carry almost dead. Everything going right. Peanut gets explosive cast into the wall, but Synthesize is about to die. Liquid Sandwich versus the Peanut, and with the heroic entrance in, he doesn't find the hit, but he kind of saves Peanut's life.
Too little, too late from Western Australia. The thought process was there, but they didn't get everything to work. Shen ultimate doesn't go down. Zyra and Lee Sin are dead before Galio gets in, and you see the ideas, but they're just not meshing, and now Peanut
sticks around, he's gonna die, has to flash. Pronome, the right amount of pressure.
Barely alive. Now look at mid lane. Miko is able to walk forward confidently. Galio has plenty of CC, plenty of lockdown, but on his own cannot kill this Cassiopeia.
At the moment, Galio, though, has fallen behind a little bit, though. T-Gun, with those early kills, with Miko getting himself, I guess, Easter eggs, you know, at Christmas. That's what I'll say. Everyone comes to his turret. What?
Easter eggs at Christmas.
It's a pleasant surprise. He's level 11 right now. So is the Galio. But the DPS coming through from Miko, absolutely massive. They'll get the Infernal this time. And Victoria start balancing things out.
Equalizing Infernals is so important. Whenever you're behind, compounding Infernals is a massive way to come back into the game, or a looming threat that will lock you out of one. So Victoria turning the tide and now equalizing it really means that Western Australia don't have that looming late game threat to worry about. Suddenly, the gold lead is simply that, the gold lead. You don't have to take into account, oh, but they have Infernal, they have scaling. Doesn't matter anymore. Western Australia, for the past couple of ganks, they just haven't worked. They haven't been able to get off the team fight. Shen ultimate and Galio ultimate not linking up, not keeping key targets alive, and the Zyra pick right now not being justified.
It is not 0-3, hasn't had the start you wanted it to, and Peanut's kind of been trailblazing behind. Liquid Sandwich is 3-0, T-Gun. Dude's got a Blade of the Ruined King. He's feeling good right now.
Feeling good, looking good, and like I said before, the clean play from bot lane has been carrying Victoria through this early game. Synthesize very clearly practiced on this Morgana, knows his limits, knows that he has to be the main engage in bot lane, always looking for Zyra when the opportunity presents itself. Laning phase being extended here, 17 minutes now, and like I said, Zyra going into mid, going into late game, more than happy to take a scaling game.
Yeah, it definitely is. The bottom lane, though, that's where the gold's sitting right now. And a little bit in the jungle as well, but over to Vision. Vision's just picked himself up a Duskblade, though. Absolutely left the jungle item behind for now, after picking up that Tiamat, and walks towards his burst.
He knows his role. He gets on priority targets, squishy targets, and the backline, and does not need to be tanky.
That's true.
You have Galio ultimate, you have Shen ultimate. Why do you need items to fulfill that role?
You've got so much in the woodwork there, building up. The WA, want to put it onto Lee Sin. Clowns actually flashes forward. A flash away by Cassiopeia, but he's taking the one-on-one. Vision is going to die. Ambitious Lee Sin. Oh, that's a word for it.
Galio ultimate doesn't go down there. I believe it was just on cooldown. Shen ultimate also not used, now being used in bot lane, diving Liquid Sandwich.
Trying to 1v2, but 3 people are there. Andy finally getting into the fight. Peanut will pick up the second kill, but that's a turret. Clown forced into the turret himself. They get Sivir. First turret blood, however, over to WA.
Synthesize, I believe he flashed in down bot lane to jump onto the Sivir, almost kills Zyra as well, while Victoria in mid lane working on mid turret. Action across the map, but Victoria take control mid. They'll get the jungle. They'll probably get the Rift Herald here, or at the very least start it up. Look for Vision trying to get a steal.
Vision has got it watered out, excuse me. Is a level behind though, so the Smite fight is not going to be fair. Maybe he just gives it up. Is it worth contesting at this point? I'm not sure. They have spotted him out.
Doesn't look like he's going to contest it. Tried to stick around, maybe deter them, but doesn't want to go in. Of course, you'd have to stick around, try and pick up the Rift Herald as well. That'd be a task against 3 members, and here we go. The dive on Liquid Sandwich, really easy. Siva runs in. How do you do with the Shen? But watch Synthesize. Standing over the wall, nails the bind, flashes in. Tower goes down, so he just doesn't get the Zyra.
Oh, no, he does.
One health.
No, he does. All right.
1 health left on that Zyra. So close to the big play. He saw it in his eyes.
But on the other note, Zyra finally getting something. Even if it's just assist. This is what you want from Mushroom Zach.
Like I said before, even without items, you have to respect the base damage from Zyra. It is still a daunting presence. And Western Australia needed some AP damage going into the mid game, going into the late game to worry Victoria. Otherwise, it is as simple as building armor and mitigating Siva. The fight would be over.
Well, Clowns is on the wrong side of the rift, and so is Vision. They now have to make their escape because everyone is collapsing in. They'll find Atar and Peanut and Mushroom Zach closely behind. The blast cone, oh no. Vision, I'm not sure if he wanted to do that, but Clowns is all the way back in. Vision on the side, Ornhorn coming through. Will he die? He gets knocked up, but Atar can't get in the fight.
Nice.
Sniped out by a Liquid Sandwich. Atar now in trouble, and for Victoria, this is just not good. A 2-for-1 trade in the end. Just kill him. Flashes forward. Double flash. Black Shield saves his life. Somehow it's only a 1-for-1.
Unbelievably survives there. In the top side, they're getting a tower as well. So what looked good for Western Australia turns out to be a win for Victoria. Vision with the engage, then gets sniped out by Liquid Sandwich. Once again, performing exquisitely for his team. Going into mid-game, it seems like Victoria understand how they need to take these fights.
Not only that, though, but at this point in the game, your eyes are looking at what Vision can achieve.
Yep.
Now, Vision at the moment, he gets a kill. He's been trading it with his life, 5 out of 5 times, apparently.
Every time he goes in, he's relying so heavily on Shen and Galio to provide him the tankiness, the sustain, to live through the initial fight. And he's simply not getting them early enough. He's putting himself in so much danger so quickly that they aren't able to react and supplement that. Western Australia, we said they have an easy-to-execute comp. It is as simple as you go in, you find a fight, you try and take it. Right here, watch Vision try and take on Synthesize.
He has been spotted out. Synthesize has used the Black Shield ultimate burn to kill him. But here comes the Stand United. Miko does have the Petrifying Gaze available.
This time, a very quick Shed ultimate makes sure he doesn't take any damage. But 99.95 ATAR.
They're getting sandwiched in. A Liquid Sandwich at that. The teleport coming through. Willow Andy commits through, and Tech Clowns is now there. The Infernal Drake the third is going to be started up.
No fight happening, but Western Australia, they keep control of the objective. No Morgana to help Victoria. Potentially a steal here from Pronome. He tried before. Can he get it this time?
It resets. It's at 1600. Vision going to go back in on it. They're probably going to finish it. There's no way Gnome gets in. Double Infernal for WA.
Simple secure there for Vision. They did the right thing. They backed it away, kept it as safe as possible. And I think Pronome understood his chances of outsmiting a Lee Sin slim to nil.
Yep.
Correct decision there from Victoria. You backed off, concede the objective. You didn't have Synthesize, who has been such a key person for all of your fights.
Interesting place to drop the Rift Herald, though.
Timing out, I would assume.
Okay.
Now you have to try and help that Rift Herald walk it down mid. But like I said before, this is Western Australia's wheelhouse. They want to fight.
Vision's there on the side looking for the flank. He finds Liquid Sandwich. Will he engage? Resonating Strike not moved, and Rift Herald. Bit of a bummer there. Will not get a charge on the turret. Must have just been timing out.
Just couldn't support it. Like I said before, Western Australia, they want to fight. They want to take that head-on 5v5. Shen might not have ultimate, but he does have teleport and a nice flank ward there in the river. You cannot walk at them without fearing for your life the whole time.
In retrospect, though, this is our longest game. Or at least, no, sorry, our closest game. This is our closest game so far of the High School Nationals. We've had some pretty big stomps, to say it bluntly. But this is finally, we've got two teams who are at similar skill levels. I think it's great to see as well, because these are the games that test you. It's one decision that makes the game, and the team that often wins it just made that split-second decision at the right time.
It's very, very back and forth, and I feel the longer this goes, the more it will benefit Western Australia. There's an argument to be made that the scaling on Victoria is better. Cassiopeia, as we all know with 6 items, puts out an insane amount of sustained damage.
Yep.
But I'm worried that she is simply not going to be able to combat the amount of burst damage that comes out of Western Australia. You have so many people that will get onto the backline that can kill her or
I was going to say, do you get a
least.
QSS? Like,
No. No, you have to rely on Morgana. The Varus needs a QSS.
But if you, at this point, if you get locked down by Grasping Roots from Zyra, if you get locked down by the Shield of Duran from Galio, the Taunt, then you are dead. QSS will remove both.
You have Cleanse. You have Morgana.
Oh, that is true.
You have to simply rely on your team. You cannot invest in a QSS as Cassiopeia. You have to be putting out that sustained damage for your team. That is your role. And to err away from that, to take the cautious play in this situation is simply too much of a deviance from what playstyle she needs to provide.
All right. I'll keep that in mind because it looks like the Void Staff is coming up next. The second item was picked up a little while ago, and we're looking for third items really across the board. Rapid fire cannon for Liquid Sandwich. One on the side of Sivir as well. And at the moment, 80 carry has been quite stable. It's been top side of the map that has been the impact.
Oh, I hazard a guess that it's been stable, but Liquid Sandwich has come off on the better end. CS discrepancy isn't really there. However, every time we looked at bot during the laning phase, it was the Victorian bottom lane getting the upper hand, landing the key abilities. And right now in mid lane, they are clearing in 2v3 situations readily. There seems to be no threat on them. They're playing very confidently, and seeing that in the face of a game.
Finally making a play, T-Gun. Shen's in a whole lot of trouble. Willow Andy gets the taunt. He'll be exhausted. He's flashed away. But here comes Call of the Forge God. Knocks him up. Synthesize here too. And this Shen, he's taking a while to die. Why was 95.8 teleporting in? It's because mid turret is going down. It gets cancelled. They get the Shen, but at the cost of the outer.
The very quick split-second decision there for Western Australia to trade there. They knew there was no way they saved Willow Andy. He was gone, but let's at least make something out of it. Go on the mid turret, win the exchange. Baron being started up, the first we've seen in quite a while. Starting a Baron against Lee Sin is never safe.
No, but Vision, Vision has caught up, so he's the same level now, Tegan. This makes it worse. 5k. Lee Sin on the backside.
You have Vision now. There's a pink ward in there. Lee Sin can easily get on the Baron here.
Still hitting the Baron. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike. He gets it, steals it away. Galio gets the 3-man knock-up. And WA say g'day to Clowns with a double kill already. Sandwich over the wall locks him down. He has to burn his flash. Mikko has run out of mana here, T-Gun. The Lee Sin will be grounded, so he can't follow up. But Mikko making the grand escape.
We finally see the Western Australia comp come together.
Oh, he
Vision
found it.
catching him as well.
Deleted.
Doing everything he can for the team. Gets the Baron, gets the chase down kill. Now turrets will fall extremely quickly. All it took was one mistake from Victoria, and suddenly the game is on its head. Mid inhibitor turret going down here. Bot towers going down as well. Inhibitor soon to fall. Possibly you can extend this siege, run straight down the bottom. Cassio is dead for another 20 seconds. You have so much pressure here. What a steal from Vision. Galio going in as well. Make sure he survives. And suddenly, the team comp all makes sense. Watch the impact Galio has here with his ultimate. So much damage coming from Zyra at the front of the fight.
I think he crippled that to death. Oh, he used his E to kill that.
He got everything in there that he could. Victoria were trying to escape. They were trying to get out. But they couldn't do it in time. They had committed too much. And Cassio gets chased down here. Wonderful strike there from Vision.
Oh, Dark Harvest, thank you very much.
All it was, one mistake. One misstep from Victoria.
Change the game.
And like I said before, You have a difficult comp there. You have to play with such finesse. Yes, there's high DPS, especially from Cassiopeia, so taking Baron is always a threat. But the mistake there is not understanding how strong Lee Sin is with the support of Zyra, of Galio, of Shen. When your priority targets are safe, Sivir and Zyra were simply putting damage down on the backline. Western Australia play it well, and now they have complete control of the game.
They've ballooned ahead, 7k gold lead, but the gold's not the biggest part. Right now, 3 items almost completed on all members. Peanut just picked up an Infinity Edge. And now we're getting to the point where Sivir is in her territory, in her element. Liquid Sandwich falling behind a little bit, had to go in for the QSS. Slowed him down. Essentially now, it's about the defense from Victoria.
Varus can't rely on Black Shield. Miko needs it in mid. Yes, he has cleanse, but there is so much, like you said, that he has to dodge. He has to be wary of. If you have Black Shield, suddenly you can play with confidence. Put out the damage you need to. But right now, Victoria are being torn apart. People in top, people in bot.
Oh no, they found Miko again.
He's gone. In between turrets, he is being dove. And that is at least another inhib.
I think that's both.
Could be all 3 going down here. Willow Andy sitting in bot lane, confident, comfortable, has Shen ultimate. On the other side, you can push. All ultimate sounded.
Counterplay, but Peanut will not be dropped to the spell shield. Everything lands. The wombo combo doesn't work. Zyra ultimate hits no one, so it continues on. But the Galio ult actually saves some lives there. 99.95 ATAR. Unfortunately, it's dropped a little bit. Vision hits down on the Blitzcrank emote, and they're going to end the game.
Peanut does fall down, but that is all Victoria get. Everything expended to keep him alive. He's the only one that dies, and Western Australia win.
They move on. They take on the champions of South Australia. They move to the semi-finals, and WA coming up huge.
What a close game, though.
Yeah.
The closest we've seen so far.
Absolutely.
Western Australia come away with the victory, but it was a hard-fought one.
Honestly, at this point, you say that WA well deserved that, though. Decision-making,
without
one
doubt.
mistake there that cost the game for Victoria. WA just pushed ahead.
We can sit there and say, yeah, it's a mistake from Victoria. But Western Australia, they have to be in position to capitalize on that. Everyone was in the right position. Zyra doing damage to the backline and Baron. The people who had stepped a bit too far forward, suddenly everything Zyra has is thrown onto him. And we were saying Zyra had fallen a little bit behind, but even then, she still puts out an incredible amount of damage.
You're right. Baseline Zyra, just absolutely monstrous. And at this point, remember when we said in Champ Select, we said, these individual champions who had simple to execute compositions that have won out the day. Well, really, at this point, it was still simple to execute. It was just unique picks that came with it. Unique,
somewhat difficult to master, like Zyra, for example. You have to be so cautious with your positioning. But once they got the fight, they wanted off. Lee Sin on backline. Zyra not being touched. Sivir able to peel for herself. You win that fight so easily. Vision is on the backline, has Galio ultimate to make sure he's able to survive, doesn't have to worry about his health, and it all looks perfect. You understand why everything was picked, how it all works together. Western Australia, great draft. Can they do that again?
Unique drafting from both teams if you want to count in South Australia as well. They'll take to the Rift. Coming up now, the semi-finals, the best of 3. WA taking on South Australia. We'll be right back.
versus Willow Andy, Vision, Clowns.
Welcome back to the High School Nationals, day number 2, and now we're into the semi-finals. My name's Jake Asteric, Penko, Bradley Teagun, Seymour right here for you, and this is the best of 3 kicking off right now, SA versus WA.
We now get to see some variety. Can Western Australia play something that isn't the brain-dead run-at-you comp? I love the comp, mind you, but that's what it is. You run in, you fight, you throw everything you have at them. Can they adapt?
I think it's brain-dead.
It is. I love the comp.
You need to execute that perfectly.
No.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. If everyone goes in one by one, you lose.
That's not perfectly.
No. Well, it should be.
I said I love the comp. That's how I like playing.
Good.
I like running in and trying to fight everybody.
So negative all the time.
It's wonderful.
But hey, when we go back to SA, when what we saw at the very start of the day, their composition was quite straightforward as well. But Hyung Sung absolutely popped off on Callista.
Insane. He was just diving everyone, hitting the Rens, going in. 0 on Alistair as well, supporting him. Wonderful play from both of them.
Yep.
And I think if they can replicate that, simply get themselves strong lanes across the board, like we saw New Zealand do time after time, they will run away with this game. They showed in the first game they have the strong laners.
They do.
They are more than confident just playing that long laning phase and then compounding their objectives from there.
Let's ask the same questions we asked yesterday, because when New Zealand jumped into the best of 3, we said, can they adapt?
Yep.
Can they change throughout the series? But they played the same similar composition over the 2 games that they played. Of course, they 2-0'd and they've jumped into the grand final.
Well, they played very different champions, even though they played similar compositions. So that is still adapting. You're playing, champions that aren't as strong. You look at something like the Vayne pick, for example.
I mean,
but it still fits the same niche.
They are the best in their region, because WA and SA had some of the biggest numbers of entrants through into their state finals, as far as I was told. And I think that's something to prove that these 2 teams came through a barrel of deception and fury, and they've come through stronger on the other side. And they've just beaten their best of 1s, although with WA, maybe it was a little bit closer than anticipated, but still all the same, they're here now.
Definitely a scrappy game, but they're showing they have that they didn't give up. They knew that if they just ground through the game, if they kept trying to hit that one fight, get the Zyra damage down, get Lee Sin on the back line, then they knew they'd win it. Yep. They were just, I wouldn't say patient, because they were definitely throwing everything they had at the wall. But they knew that if they kept at it, kept pushing, trying to find the one weakness, as soon as they did, it felt like the game was over.
But South Australia, their game was,
it was insane.
It was 17 minutes, 18 minutes.
That was a LPL-esque game where they just kept fighting and then they ran at the Nexus.
A 0 Alistair, that's something to be noted as well, that really set up the game. And of course, Hyun Swang, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, on Callista.
You definitely are.
I definitely am, but still, the Callista has to be noted that was just such a unique pick and just played to fruition so damn well.
It does seem like a unique pick now, doesn't it? It was something that, when it was released, was just insane. Everyone was picking it, banning it. It had so much priority, and it's fallen away so much.
You can't pick Callista now.
Well, you can.
I mean, apparently you can, but a lot of pro players just will not pick Callista.
It depends on the team comps. You look at it as it has short range. It struggles, getting through tanks, trying to get priority targets.
Yeah.
But if you do get ahead, if you do get, that slight lead, that ability to snowball, suddenly the strength is so clear. You're able to run people down. There's no 1v1 you shouldn't or won't take.
Really well with Blitzcrank as well.
And Alistair.
Yep, but mainly Blitzcrank. Yeah.
You're not getting me to agree with you?
No, it is actually really good with Blitzcrank.
It has one. All right. It has one synergy with Blitzcrank, which is throwing that hook out, the big combo.
Yep.
And it's not worth it.
And then what? What after? So you rocket grab them in. That's the first part.
No, it's not worth it.
It's so worth it.
That's the only intricate synergy it has with Blitzcrank.
You literally silence them as well. You knock them back up. Then you rocket fist them. They do not move. It is so good.
You are thinking way too hard about
No, Tegan, I do play Blitzcrank as well. I'm actually quite efficient on it. We're about to jump into our start of our best of 3, but before we do, we have some news for you as well. South Australia and Western Australia, they are so far away from us right now. No, that's not the news. I'm just kidding. South Australia. I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Maybe just...
Hey, geographically, they are not in New South Wales.
I was actually going to finish my sentence, but I realised what I said. For South Australia, their team looks powerful. Like, of the group, they look like the New Zealand. But WA, I don't think this is the same as yesterday. That's what the news is. I think we're going to have a much tighter best of 3.
That's the news.
That's the news.
Do you watch the news? Do you know what news is?
Let's jump into the first game. Glenunga International taking on Willetton Senior High School. This time it's a best of 3. T-Gun, I'm excited. I don't know about you.
All right, Big Kev, calm down there, buddy. Morgana, the first ban, take it away, no longer pickable. And we were saying we don't want to see Callista or Alistair. Well, we do want to see it, but if it's given to Glenunga, expect Hyunsung, expect Zero to just pop off, for the lack of a better term. I know people get sick of everyone here saying it, but the Callista, the Alistair seem so strong. Well, they seem so confident on them.
Alistair's just been taken away, so there is the respect ban from WA. And look, I've been readily informed today. I think I've done the same to our audience. Lee Sin, I'm going to inform you that has now been taken away from Vision.
All right, you're just reading things off. Good on you. How about we look to the future? Look at what potential is there. Callista still available, which is something that it's so unique, so difficult to plan for. If you aren't well versed in playing against it, you should not let it go through. It is not like playing against Kai'Sa, like playing against Caitlyn or Xayah. It has its own unique playstyle that you have to account for. And if they give that over, there's questions to be said, because it is so great at kiting back. It's so great at dealing with team fight comps where you run at the enemy, and that's what Western Australia showed they were good at.
But WA have proven that they can play unique AD carries as well. Peanut picked up the Siva, Mushroom Zach picked up the Zyra. It does not mean that they are not going to match SA's bottom lane in the exact same way. The Shen was taken off, and now that final ban has the Swain. Looks like the Asian noob will be forced out just that little bit. Let's see what that first pick is.
Lots of adaptations here, and that's what I love to see going into a best of 3, is adapting to your opponents as opposed to just coming in with a preconceived notion how to draft. Galio picked away instantly.
Taken away from the Clowns.
Is that a flex anymore? The Asian noob shows that he plays Swain. He's playing these somewhat off-kilter mids. Like I said before, Swain is showing more of a propensity in ADC.
I still think you leave it as a flex thing, and I trusted your words. Zero played the Alistair. I mean, we've got one game to base it off, but by the look of the style, who knows? The Camille response. That is normally a flex, but Vision, the way he plays the jungle, we're expecting that to go exactly where we think.
Camille picked up early, and I love that people are starting to come back to this strong flex picking Camille.
Yeah.
It fell out of favor for a little bit, but all of the benefits are still there. There hasn't been anything that really hinders her potential in games. It's so just incredibly good to take early. Something got locked in.
No longer a flex.
Now,
hang on, wait, maybe still.
Akali still on the table. Kai'Sa picked up here for Hyunsung, even though Callista was available, was banned, I believe, in their first game. And this is a champion we have seen so often in the OCS, in the promo series, that can take over games.
Yeah.
That has the potential to
We saw
single-handedly
DK
carry.
play it. I mean, he played it twice. And he took over game.
Now Hyunsung, who did have such an integral part in winning that first game, has taken Kai'Sa.
But Kled was just slam locked in. Look at these powerful picks from South Australia. Look at the individuality from WA. I think we've got an interesting series on our hands. And I would not be surprised if we see one more pick of adversity here.
South Australia are doing exactly what Western Australia just did.
Yeah.
They are picking the go-in, the fight comp. Na is essentially the top lane Siva.
Yep.
Galio there to supplement whoever goes in.
You mean Kled?
Sorry, Kled, my mistake. Kai'Sa there.
I guess they look
easy to get into the back line. Can you utilize that Galio ultimate as well? How do Western Australia deal with the comp that they just played?
Well, they're going to lock down someone with the virus picked up. So maybe we see that denial that we did not see when South Australia took on the Northern Territory. They're leaving bans to the last minute, like really last minute here as a side note.
You use all the time allotted to you. There's no need to rush it.
I mean, it's 0 seconds, T-Gun. You might want to do it a couple of seconds before.
For me, I look at these bans, I see Akali still open.
Yep.
There's no mid laner here locked for Willerton if you're assuming Urgot top Camille jungle, which feels like the most likely situation for them so far. Akali available and is one of the best champions to pick into engage comps because you can waste so much time. It is so difficult to get you out of the Shroud, to kill you when you're trying to fight, take that explosive battle. Easy pickup here for Willerton if Clowns is proficient.
Who's confident enough to pick it up? Will it even just find its way through? I think we saw it go all the way through last draft from memory. I don't remember seeing a ban.
Believe we did.
So, going to be Jarvan Warwick. Junglers taken away from SA. Mustache played a decent enough Jarvan, so not having some layer of comfort might matter.
Still so many top tier junglers left. Sejuani, even though she got a nerf, still quite good. You can fall back onto the old ones, the Talias. Removing comfort picks, I assume, here with the Warwick. Sort of an older champion, an off-meta champion.
What support bands do we want to get rid of?
Well, when you haven't picked support on either side, it makes sense to target out the strong ones, the Alistair, which we saw, Morgana, we saw Synthesize have a pretty incredible game on it. Nami, Braum, again, just comfort picks that are strong and have always been mainstays down there. Ragus picked up here. I hazard a guess going support, but like you said before, has been played in 3 very distinct and different roles.
Yeah, but we could also see the Urgot mid, and therefore the Gragas moving back towards that jungle. At the moment,
Yep.
Who knows? So, WA actually playing with the flex this time. I think we wanted to see it. We wanted to talk about that adaptation a little bit as to confusing in the pick and ban phase, but Jax slam locked down at the last second. And is it going to be Tom Kench?
There were restrictive junglers here, Tom Kench locked in the Warwick, which leads you to believe they were removing those carry junglers, and Jax, Mustachio locking it in very quickly, fits that role perfectly as a carry jungler.
But we saw Jax yesterday. Fennekin picked it up. Good old Fennekin.
It did not look good yesterday.
It did not look good. So,
Karma rounding out the comp, and Willerton Senior High School have created another comp that can engage. Karma essentially has a worse Sivir ulti in Mantra Shield to get everyone in there.
Yeah.
Camille's lockdown, wonderful. Gragas also loves getting in there to engage.
And you know what? To Clowns, doing his best shock impersonation here in the mid lane. You know, ode to the mid laner who brought Urgot into the OPL. Or at least brought him into the mid lane.
I believe he was actually the first Urgot in the OPL.
I feel like he was.
Or at least in that season.
I mean, no one played... I feel like he would have played Urgot before Urgot was even relevant.
It was definitely not relevant then. It's obviously come back to relevancy, especially in the Chinese league. Now starting to trickle down internationally. But we see it here today in the mid lane. Primarily it gets played top lane because it pretty much wins every match up there.
Fine into Galio as well, remembering it's AD versus Galio, who just loves Emma.
Yep.
So this is going to be interesting. Urgot to bring us into game number 1 of this best of 3 series. I think at the moment, I'm favouring the comp. I'm favouring WA just because of how
Yeah, I was about to say, you're favouring it because it has Urgot, essentially, because you like the pick. Yeah. But if I look at the drafts, I look at the comps, I'm favouring South Australia. I'm thinking they've created a much more rounded comp. Any comp that has Kai'Sa, I always sit there and think, how do you outscale Kai'Sa?
Yeah.
It seemed to put out just an insane amount of damage. Yes, it got a nerf to its scaling in 8.18, but that is not very impactful. She still does an incredible amount of damage, and if she starts getting into a scaling point,
Gathering Storm's still great.
Gets Gwynsu's, gets the extra items, suddenly you have to focus her so much in fights.
Oh, absolutely. We saw Kaiser's pop off yesterday. We saw DK. And I think this will be interesting because if this first game is quite balanced out, again, we'll see this series go the length, go the distance. For WA, they had one moment that defined their game. South Australia, they were in control the whole time. So if this comes down to a matter of control, we'll just see South Australia run away.
Well, if I'm Western Australia, I want to make it a grind for South Australia. They played that game. It was back and forth. It was very explosive. But there was never a time where I looked at the game and I was thinking to myself, well, they're out of this game. There's no way they can take a fight. There's no way they can win a fight. Everything looks lost. If they can make sure that South Australia, they don't run away with it, they don't generate a huge early lead, I would give them an edge.
Because that'll happen.
They seemed quite confident in that situation where it was just back and forth objective trades. There was things happening in multiple places. They never looked lost. Whereas South Australia, we've only seen them play from in front.
Yep.
They won through all of their lanes, and when you win through all of your lanes, the game seems so simple. It seems like there's no decisions to be made. And if they can't deal with the stress of difficult decisions, having to concede things, trade things, then Western Australia can easily run away with it.
Because it'll happen again if this top lane, let's start up there. Kled gets ahead, and then that's how South Australia start finding everything else on the map. Again, a composition that can roam. You've got Galio mid. Helps out every lane. Absolutely fantastic. Kled topside with TP. Yeah.
Well, it's also, if Kled gets ahead, suddenly your Camille can't do what she wants to do.
True.
You want to be able to threaten split push and then collapse the fights.
Goes both ways, though. Camille gets ahead. You're in, you know.
Well, I mean, if the lane goes neutral, Camille wins the split push. That is all you want, is to go neutral, win that split push, force the Kled to engage, and then tell your team, I don't want to group.
Yep.
I want to push through the side lane, win through the side lane. The Praedyth playstyle, essentially, where you have your team kite back, control objectives, while you simply play PvE,
forget that
push
you're
towers,
playing a
and you win the
5v5
game.
game. Just sit in a side lane and hit a turret for
If
years.
it works, it works.
It does, and we've seen it. It does work. So I guess we don't expect that playstyle out of these guys because the confidence comes in on the 5v5.
And it takes a lot of finesse to do that. You have to have your 4-man unit be very confident in contesting objectives without committing. And that is a hard task.
Yep.
You have to be right on the edge of your opponent's engage range, enticing them to get off objectives without actually engaging them. And to do that like consistently while your top laner or whoever it may be is split pushing and applying pressure, it takes a lot of practice. And if these teams can pull that off effectively, it will show that they've only been together for a small amount of time, but they've used that time wisely.
I mean, I think a lot of teams would have practiced leading up to this as well. I think that especially, what is the best lane for you at the moment in this tournament? Like, what lane has been the lane to watch?
Well, I'd love to say mid, but I think it's been ADC.
You reckon?
Today, we've seen Hyunsung be just insane. He controlled that lane the whole game. Kalista looked incredible.
DK yesterday, I guess.
DK yesterday was the most aggressive ADC I've ever seen to just never die. He just kept going in, kept taking every fight.
See, I would have thought it would be jungle.
There's an argument to be made. There's been so much excellence from multiple lanes. But you asked me for an answer. It was ADC.
Okay. I agree, but I also disagree, Tegan. Let's jump in. Semi-finals now. South Australia taking on Western Australia. And this is for the big ones. This is to go to the grand final, take on New Zealand. It'll essentially be Australia versus New Zealand in the finals.
Get to play live, best of 5. What you want to accomplish, essentially, representing your state and then your country and your school all at once.
Just, you get the triple whammy. South Australia, this is a bit cheeky, Tegan.
Well, it's the right thing to do in best of 3.
But it's always cheeky. Doesn't mean it's not cheeky.
Hey, I'm a man who loves level 1s.
I love it.
Loves trying to invade. And South Australia, they went for it there. They know that games can be won at level 1.
Yep.
Especially if you sit there as a 5-man unit, make sure you are disciplined in how you approach it, and that's exactly what they've done there.
What is that skin?
What, the Urgot one?
Yeah.
I think I like it.
What is that? Is that Butcher Urgot? That's Butcher Urgot with a chroma. Yeah. Not my favorite.
I like it.
I think, no, the High Noon one that just came out. Now that's an Urgot skin.
All right,
that
then.
Giant Enemy Crab God. The 2 acceptable skins. Anyway. At the moment,
2
the Urgot...
acceptable skins.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's it. We do see the unsealed spellbook that I asked for yesterday, Tegan, on the Urgot. So, in that sense, I'm excited to see where this goes.
Well, it's so weird that... What did we see yesterday? I think it was Press the Attack.
We saw Press the Attack, yeah.
And
it did not get off the ground.
It felt all right as a choice, but nothing ever feels great on Urgot. It's much like when you play Ezreal, where you look for a summon a spell, or you look for anything that isn't unsealed spellbook, essentially.
Is that why people do unsealed? Do you reckon there's nothing else?
Pretty much. Unsealed is essentially the fallback. You go to it when nothing else fits, when nothing else feels great. Unsealed has just a lot of baseline power. When you look at something like Electrocute, which got gutted quite hard.
But people still use it.
They do, because the strength is there. It's an underlying strength that has a purpose. But when you fall back and you sit there and you're like, is it worth it? and there's a lot of arguments to be made, that's where people start falling back to Unsealed Spellbook, which is always at least the same level of power.
Yeah, it feels like it works well on Urgot. Of course, we might see that Ignite mid at some point.
We also see Unsealed on Tahm Kench.
And
I'm a huge fan of Unsealed on Tahm Kench.
You prefer it over Glacial Orc?
Yes.
Okay.
Without a doubt. You need things like Cleanse, like Barrier, potentially even Heal when it comes to the mid-late game.
Especially since Tahm Kench, another person that got gutted. I mean, now, I think it was our conversation during the promotion tournament where you pick Tongue Lash or you pick Devour. Like, you can't pick, you're going to pick Devour, of course, because you want to save your AD carry. You don't have that same lane presence anymore.
You have, I believe it's about 28 seconds on your Devour at level 1.
You need to level that up.
You essentially get 1 Devour per 2 engages for the opposition. It's so incredibly difficult to figure out when it's worth it and when you can't do it.
I mean, on that note, though, Tegan, and just to bring back the point, you're not going to level up Tongue Lash. Like
could.
Lane presence versus safety. Because at level 2, Devour goes down to 22 seconds, I think.
Look at Mustachio, just to take it to a different path. He just blast coned into the blue buff with no vision. That is aggression. Yeah. Didn't find it, unlucky for him.
That's Jack stuff, dude.
But the sentiment, the thought process there, knowing that he wants to go in, wants to fight, wants to try and find vision. I love it from Mustachio. In a pressure situation, isn't willing to back down.
Yeah. He'll spot out Vision, though, who went over to his Raptors, and the ward does expire, but the information there, up towards the red side. You see pings are getting dropped on as well, and Legends has to be careful. He knows that the Gragas is top side, but he hasn't been descaled. Their Hextech sweep actually misses there. Goes back in onto Andy, and now gets demounted. A true Legend, that's just not what you want.
If there is no damage put on him while he doesn't have his mount, he doesn't care. That is essentially free healing he is going to receive once he gets Skarl back.
True.
So while he is dismounted, has to be a bit careful. That is how you essentially want to play Kled, is trade away Skarl, back off, let it regenerate, get back onto Skarl, and suddenly you have a huge health lead.
Well, he's still behind, though, in CSO, although it might be a position of comfort still. You got True Legend, who is behind. Everywhere at the moment getting pushed in quite heavily. The mid lane, the only avenue if Vision wants to make an impact.
The poke damage down here in bot lane is something we haven't spoken about. We're talking about how Tahm Kench's all-in potential, and he has to be so careful with his Devour.
He's actually going mid. Flash forward as well. There's no mana on Asia Noob. Taking a turret shot. Vision, has he gone too far? Almost. And Jax is nowhere nearby, but a flash burn for a flash gang.
Right on the edge of his life, and Galio has to flash away. However, 2 flashes for 1 there.
Yep.
Gragas and Urgot both burn theirs, trying to take down the Galio, opting to not teleport back here, saving that resource for later.
Oh, Legend.
Gets back on Skarl, and now, health lead.
Okay. All right, Tegan, I get you. You were right, I was wrong. Not level 6 though yet, though. So Willow Andy actually has a Hextech ultimate, and will he use it? Level 6 now onto Skarl and jumps right back in. Kled, can he survive? Willow Andy makes him flash away. He will not follow up with his own. True Legend almost dies to minions.
The caster minion's just about to hit him now. Mustachio going into Karma.
He's level 4. He says, what's up? Zach will hit him back. And Peanut just walks away.
The Asian noob ends up down here as well with the teleport.
Yep.
And nothing happening down here for South Australia. Nowhere to find the fight, and across the board, their lanes are struggling. They need to be trying to make plays like that. Looking for proactive TPs, potentially getting the Galio involved now with his ultimate. Because every lane for West...
Oh,
sorry,
no.
1 second.
Willow Andy has to flash away. The bear trap on a rope will not bring him back. But that is charged down.
Teleport back for Kled there. Gets onto Camille, not paying the respect that she probably should have. And now Flash is traded. Teleports as well up in top lane. Looking a bit better there for South Australia.
The double longsword versus Ninja Tabai up in that top side. True Legend has equalized on the CS, which is going to help out that gold lead. WA ahead by a small margin, but that's just across the laning phase at the moment, especially in this bottom lane where Peanut's been slowed down, exhausted as well. Vision coming in on the side, Mustachio there. Vision actually making the right call. They jump onto Hyunsung. He gets ignited. One more auto attack. The heroic entrance now leaps in. and that'll save the AD carry from losing the first blood.
Heroic entrance also gets him away from the Urgot, who was engaging on Galio. But once again, South Australia just not finding the mark. Western Australia peeling back exquisitely, making sure while they're peeling back, getting away from the engage, they're putting down damage. And once again, come out on top down in bot lane.
And really, across the map, WA making things happen, getting things close. Vision actually spotted out by a ward. The Wombo's there. Maybe the mistake that SA capitalize on. It's first blood.
The Wombo is there. CC layered perfectly. No flash for Vision to try and escape quickly. Can't get to the blast cone. And the patience from South Australia, trying and trying again. They finally find the mark on someone, get first blood, relieve a little bit of the pressure. They need to keep doing that. Keep looking for the picks, and they can start building a lead in this game.
And really, an assist across the board it's okay. Stachio, maybe he would have preferred that kill, but he's still trailing. He's actually quite a lot behind. And I look at this gold lead again and I say, it's actually in that jungle. Look at the difference there. It's snuck up on us.
You have a gold lead while being down first blood. That is a testament not just to the jungle, but to every lane doing their part in generating the lead.
Yep.
Now Jax, yes, has fallen quite far behind, but that is the nature of a hyper-farming jungler playing against someone like Gragas who has the strength early. Gragas doesn't need items. He doesn't need time until he comes into effect. He is more than happy to take the brawls, take the scraps now, while Jax wants to farm. He doesn't want to fight until he gets at least an item, if not two.
But with that early advantage, Vision takes it straight to the Dragon, the Cloud to start us off. And you're going to hope for something a little bit better after this.
With control, you always want to see an Infernal. At least an Ocean.
Cloud.
But it's Cloud into second Cloud. That is not what you want when you have control.
I don't, correct, my opinion, I don't mind that on a Karma composition.
I do.
But you play Karma. You and I both play Karma.
You don't need that extra move speed. As nice as it is, it's a quality of life increase. You would still prefer the impact stats of Infernal or the objective taking of a Mountain Drake. And in laning phase, you want the Ocean Drake over Wind Drake.
But you take what you can get, T-Gun, and we're going to get 2 Clouds anyway. So if I'm Karma, I'm going, yep.
That's a selfish way of looking at it.
Yeah, maybe. Not too selfish. I think at the moment, bottom lane, just still a position of comfort for WA. And we didn't see this in the first game. We saw the Sivir, we saw the Zyra falling flat. Sivir sitting back and doing Sivir things.
Mustachio here to help Kled though.
True Legends has been descaled. The Hextech Ultimatum jumps onto Jax. 2-level advantage. TP's there. Urgot's here. He's going to pop the ulti. He's about to have his dinner. And boy, oh boy, Jax tastes good in the morning.
Easy turnaround there. The second the Jax committed, you teleport in, collapse as a team. Western Australia, they have done what they needed this early game. They ground out the start, built a lead, and now they're collapsing. Finding kills, starting to take control. Early objective here. Game 1, we saw South Australia generate a huge lead in all lanes, and it looked easy for them.
Yeah.
They looked like they couldn't make a wrong move. And now, Western Australia coming up, fighting every lane with control. South Australia not answering well enough. Western Australia, quick responses every time.
Especially when they were the favourites coming into this series, because South Australia won a 17-minute game. At this point, when they were versing the Northern Territory, they were already so far ahead that a lot of people just called the game over. At this point, WA are 2k gold ahead, and every single lane is winning by not a small amount, by a massive amount. Top lane probably the closest on the Rift.
Is it closer? Like I said before, if you go into mid-game even as Camille, you're happy. Tom Kench ultimate, bringing in Jax.
Mustache coming in, Peanut has to flash, Mushroom Zack misses, and the W connects. Wait for the killer instinct. Hyunsung jumps in again. Mushroom Zack gonna go down, and just as we were praising them, just as the 80 carry goes down, it's gonna be a 2-for-1 trade. Mustache smacks him down. Vision flashes forward. Here comes Galio, the heroic entrance. Brings them all in. A 2 versus 2 again. Vision is so squishy at this point in the game. Asian Noob will eventually try and kill him with the Winds of War. Can he find it? He flashes. He gets it. And we're back on the 2 versus 1. Ulti put into Galio. Urgot has the execution, but it's a little bit too late. He'll still die anyway. And a very long fight eventually goes back over to WA.
The flash at the end of that from Willow Andy to block the Galio's escape. What a split-second decision to make. Well done by Western Australia. It looked like their bot lane was caught, and that was going to be it. They take the 2 for 1. They take the loss in the trade, and that's all she wrote. But they persisted. Everyone collapsed down. The whole team gets involved. Kled did not have teleport that whole time. It was barely not there. 5 seconds longer, and he could have got involved. But the timing from Western Australia, now they engage on the Kled as well.
He's just been descaled again. Kled probably going to die here. Flashes away. True legend. Again, I respect that.
Flash and a teleport just to save yourself. Western Australia being proactive, trying to defend their team. The Tarm brings in Jax early, and this whole time, while they are escaping, they're putting down damage. Look at Peanut. He's committed here. The second Hyunsung goes in, he turns around, takes the kill, buys as much time as he can. He's trying to wait out the Ignite, can't do it. Uses the heal, and now look at Vision. Predator in, gets on the Jax. Galio ultimate cannot save him. And it's a slow grind here. You slowly take them down, but the whole team was involved. Gragas does fall, but you just slow up.
We're doing it again, Tegan. You thought you could have a break. Absolutely not. Where's the Acathian Rain? There it is. Double kill, meanwhile. We blink and there it is.
Now the proactivity is paying off. However...
Hang on, we're not stopping just yet. You can't have a break. Oh, no. Oh, that's not what you like to see. The explosive cast does not work out.
Zero with the safest hands in the game gets the catch as he's being thrown away. Delivers Gragas to his team. Well, Gragas delivered himself, essentially.
He essentially did.
And just as South Australia were looking down and out, they come up with 3 huge kills.
What was even the trade in the last fight? What was the trade in that fight, Tegan? Are you keeping up?
I believe it was 4 for 3 when it was all said and done.
To WA?
Yes.
Or to South Australia?
To WA.
Okay.
And that one there, 3 for none. Or 3 for 1, excuse me.
I think it's hard to keep track at this point. It started as a very calm game. Opportunities arising now in so many different places, and it is just snowballed ahead. WA, although they lose part of that fight, they get mid lane enough.
This is the exact game Western Australia just played.
Yep.
Constant fighting, trying to take objectives, trading across the map. You have to think they're more comfortable here than South Australia.
I think at the moment, especially hitting Rift Herald, this is a show of confidence, if that. Zero's walking forward, wants to disrupt this play, but WA move away from that Rift Herald. Not to be seen today.
Once again, look at the map movement here from Western Australia. Kled locked into trailing the Camille Roam. Cannot keep pace with Willow Andy, and now Camille goes in.
Hextech ultimatum on the 80 carry, but he's just been gobbled up, so it is null and void. The jump in from Galio, the heroic entrance, but DeClowns has already deleted him. Gobs him forward, stops the Galio. He'll get a big taunt, but it's already too late. Explosive cast is perfect, and WA here to stay.
What a cask there from Vision. Knocks Hyunsung all the way back in. South Australia get a pick, and Western Australia take their turn, get the engage, and they turn it into an objective.
And if they want to fight again,
that is the most important thing.
If they want to fight again, Tegan, they will. If you stand underneath this turret, you're going to get doped, because this inner is going down.
The inner's down, they take control of the map, and now they've generated a substantial lead. The first few picks didn't amount to much. There wasn't anything being taken. South Australia, they got 3 picks in mid, and no tower, no herald, no objective. Western Australia get picks in mid, get a turret, get control of the bot side, Vision, and take Dragon. Third win Drake. Now is where you sit there and think, that's all right.
Not too bad. It's not too bad, especially since WA have control all across the map. You can see up towards Baron. SA have their vision control lined up there, and to be quite honest, they've got more vision than WA, so part of that control given over. A turret as a response there for South Australia due to the minions. So they're closing this gap, but really it just keeps expanding every time WA start a fight.
I have to say, you look at how Willow Andy is playing. He's running to the side lane, pulling Kled there, then collapsing to his team. Double Cloud doesn't seem too bad for it.
No, it does not. You can see in the CS what he's doing. There's 30 CS behind, but it does not matter. What he's doing for WA is so much more important.
He's 30 CS behind, but he's still stronger than the Kled in the split, and I would hazard a guess, probably up or at least even in gold due to his contribution to his team. He's got the kill, he's got the assist, and they have done so much work on towers already.
Got the Trinity Force as well.
That is a selfless playstyle from Willow Andy.
Yep. He played the Shen in the first game.
Yep.
We said, this guy is active across the map. Would he be a good Shen? The answer was yes. Really made the game for WA. Now Willow Andy, even on the carry top, the same playstyle there. And yes, T-Gun is 500 gold ahead.
Across the team, every single role is ahead in gold. Generally, you see 1 or 2 people carrying and the rest going even. This is a group effort from Western Australia.
The Urgot is 2k gold ahead of Galio. Now, to Clowns, had the Galio game in game 1.
Yep.
And he's changed his playstyle up as well, but still finds himself ahead.
Grouping up here on this top turret, I'm not sure South Australia can really defend this.
No,
you look at bot lane, Willow Andy is currently diving onto True Legend, and up in top, it's a 4v4, and they get the tower.
They want to fight now, but there's no turret there to Clowns. Actually going to be jumped on. Galio only finds one, but it's the Urgot. Can he get the execution? No, he's gobbled up himself. Suppression does not exist. It's a 1-for-1. Vision knocks Hyunsung back, but he just ults through. The Kaiser still lives, but Mushroom Zack is shielding everyone. Peanut will push them away, and blinking health bars from South Australia means that WA walk forward.
They win the top turret, they win the fight up there, and as well as that, they win in bot lane. Willow Andy kills True Legend off screen, both in the 4-man unit and the split push setup. Western Australia reigns supreme. South Australia now, they need to make a decision. Concede bot turret, concede bot control, and take a big team fight with the Kled, or try and pick the Camille. You have just learned that you cannot win either the 4v4 or the 1v1. It is time to make a change and take a risk to ensure you can stay in this game.
Maybe that risk comes around the Baron Pit. 15 seconds. Vision secures the scuttle, but everyone's fanning out a little bit. You saw Willow Andy there before. Instead of forcing that turret when it probably was going to die if he stayed, he backs away, takes the safer play, and WA not putting anything forward as a risk in this best of 3.
They don't need to. They have complete control of the game. This is the exact way they took the last game, was generate a lead off one big pick and then play it safe. Take objectives slowly, in a natural way, in a clean way. And Willow Andy, like I said before, this is how we saw Praetor play. He was walking in, trying to take objectives, try to stay on the edge of a 1v2, but not really commit. And in the interim, you have your team group up and start posturing on objectives.
Because the Asian Noob's coming on down. Willow Andy, he still has the hook shot available, just walks away. Meanwhile, you can see topside, WA not really doing too much. Just clearing Vision, maybe setting up for the potential of Baron, getting waves under control.
All they need now is to exert their lead in Vision. You look up near that Baron, and they have a bit of vision there, but so does South Australia when they have no right to having that vision.
Yep.
It is a testament to South Australia that they've been able to get those sneaky wards out and get the vision. Mustachio could be caught here.
Maybe. He just jumps onto the Urgot, flipped away. The counter-strike will stop him. The Clown still wants to commit forward. Vision coming in super fast. But the Clowns cannot catch up.
Just not fast enough, and Mustachio essentially steals away his own blue buff there. But once again, this vision here from South Australia,
there we go,
finally being cleared away. They have no way to control that vision, to actually maintain the wards. And once it's gone, checking anyone from Western Australia, going into the bushes, finding Gragas, finding Urgot, is such a scary thing that you have to do, or Baron will fall quite soon.
Because everyone is going to delete you. You walk into that brush and it's over. Willow Andy, the person sitting in the side lane, has teleport. So does True Legends, but there's a level difference. At this point, with the Tiamat just picked up, now Willow Andy feeling in a good position.
Willow Andy doesn't want to teleport. All he wants to do is sit down here and keep punishing True Legend.
But I feel like he will after the talk we had about Willow Andy always wanting to be with his team.
Wait, there's that potential where if he can shove a wave and teleport to Baron as fast as he can, then he can get active with his team. Okay. But apart from that, his whole goal is sit with the Kled, and cancel his teleport because he's already proven he wins the 1v1.
Yep. 10 seconds till Dragon Tiger. You ready?
Third Cloud.
Ready for Triple Cloud?
I'm never ready for Triple Cloud.
Well, we're getting it, so you have to be. You can see South Australia actually posturing up towards their jungle, and again, it's all about that vision. There's nothing that WA are kind of dropping there. There's one ward to spot them out, but that's about it. There's so much control that South Australia, again, should not have.
It's persistence from South Australia there paying off.
Yep.
Every time the vision is cleared, they take it back as safely as possible, as quickly as possible, and it may net them something here. You see them running up towards Baron while Dragon's being taken from Western Australia. Once again, they get whatever vision they can while they give up Dragon, and an Infernal Drake is the prize at the end of it all for Western Australia, but Vision is looking for more.
Walking in, it's going to be True Legend first, knocks up the Claire, Explodes Cast not used just yet to Clowns, has his ult, but that is a huge Galio stun. He'll knock up many more, but he's been stunned out of the way. Look at Kaiser on the backside, Yunsung almost picks up Peanut. One more hit necessary, but he's deleted. A messy fight, but Kaiser lives on. Peanut walks back into him, gets deleted. The mess continues with a shutdown on the backside, but look at Camille. Willow Andy picks up the kill. They find the last one as the ace, and a 3 for 5. And God, that was messy, Tiger.
Yunsung tried his best, did everything he could, but at the end of it all, it did not matter. Western Australia just too strong. It was a great engage from the Asian noob. He caught everyone he could, got his ultimate off, but got interrupted. And everyone from Western Australia just turns around and says, you know what? We are strong enough to take this fight. We can persist. It gains them the mid inhibitor, and that will open up Baron for them.
And they head towards it, a 2 for 5, I'll correct myself, but after what was such a messy fight, South Australia trying everything to get it online here, Tiger.
Well, here we go again, and watch Vision. He tries to stop Galio here. He sees it happening, but a 4-man taunt. Everyone is caught here. But you see the damage being put out from the team of Western Australia. Yes, they are all caught. They have to fight, but that is fine. Kaiser doesn't do enough at this stage. She gets Gragas, gets Varus, and that is it. Everyone else survives. Jax just isn't strong enough to take on the Camille. Western Australia proved too strong. Their lead is too much right now for South Australia to win a 5v5, even though South Australia executed the beginning of it so well.
They really did. Oh, what? The Willow Andy gets popped over by the blast cone. Into Clowns is coming in. Righteous Glory is the second item. That's a fun fact. Mustachio onto Willow Andy, but this does not look good for the Jax. He gets popped out. Chains of Corruption lands. The Kaiser eaten up. But is this the fight that turns around? True Legend almost deletes Camille, but then dies himself. The Clowns jumps in, lives on, and Zero's going to drop 2. That looks like it could be it with a double kill going over to the 80 carry.
The death timers are all above 30 seconds. Galio doing his best to proxy this wave, but he is soon to fall.
Triple kill.
And that's it. Western Australia take game 1 in this best of 3.
And what was kind of looking like the underdogs have just come into this game, dominating South Australia. WA walk forward and are one step closer to versing New Zealand in the grand finals on October 20.
South Australia come into this game, 17-minute victory. And Western Australia had control, I don't want to say the whole game.
I'll say
there were
10,
moments.
From about 10, 11 minutes.
There were moments where South Australia looked like they could wrest control back.
Yeah.
But it never let up. The pressure was there. Western Australia kept taking fights, kept taking objectives off the back of those fights, which is the key point for them. Anytime you win a fight, you have to find something. Vision control, Dragon, towers, whatever it is, you need to make it mean something. The gold is not enough when you're playing competitive games. And South Australia, they were winning fights, but it never amounted to a tower.
They were.
Never amounted to a dragon.
They were.
It wasn't enough.
But it came off the back of Galio. There was moments there where if the team is even, if the team has that semblance of a lead, or even, you know, they're trailing by a little bit, then those Galio fights go a little bit different. Like 4-man stuns, 4-man taunts, excuse me.
Without a doubt. That final fight, if they were, I would say, behind by 3,000 instead of what they were behind, which was roughly 6,000, then they probably win that fight. It was such a great engage. Everyone was compounding in early as a team. but the lead had been generated by Western Australia. They had earned that leniency in team fights.
Yep.
The gold lead does that, where they can make small mistakes, take fights that they probably shouldn't, and come out on top.
Well, at the end of the day, WA, though, being the underdogs, they set themselves up with a 1-game lead. Yep. It's now up to SA to make that reverse sweep. We're going to come back with Game 2 right after this. Welcome back to the High School Nationals. There we are, High School Nationals here for day number 2. We're in the semi-finals now, and this is Bradley Teague on Seymour. That's all the information you need. I'm Jake Asterix, Aussie Penko, apparently. And this now is game 2, match point.
That's all the information they need, not the result of the first game. Not that it's match point.
All right,
not the comps that were just played.
I'll give them a little bit extra Teague. I need to stop nagging me. You know my mum. This is now match point for a team that was arguably the underdogs here.
Oh, I would agree. I would say they were the underdogs. Like I said, it was a close underdog. It was like 55-45, especially considering how just dominant South Australia looked in their
Below
first
50%,
game.
by the way, is underdog. That's kind of
That's why I said it was close.
Yeah. So, still an underdog.
Thank you, man, who gave us the news that Western Australia and South Australia were a little far away.
I had to remind myself, Teague, and get off my back. This game is important, though, for many more reasons. This makes a statement for your state.
Well, it's also match point. That's the most important part. If Western Australia win this, they book their ticket to the finals, face New Zealand, get the trip to play live in Sydney. And that's got to be a lot of stress for these guys.
It is. But, I mean, is it as much stress as high school? I don't know. I went through high school, but I just chilled. WA taking on SA, game 2. Here we go. So, at the moment, Willetton Senior High School have that game advantage. Comfortable position, match point.
As South Australia, do you just go straight to target bans? Obviously, they say yes, get rid of the ergot. Don't let Western Australia get that. They didn't really know how to deal with it. But what else can you remove from Western Australia that was unique in that game? Because everything else has things that you can just interchange. Camille Top is just your general carry top laner that can team fight. So you can go to anything else, potentially even a Kali, which was available. Varus AD flexes quite well to most other ADs. We've seen him be quite confident on Callista. Works with Ashe as well. Same as Gragas is just a CC jungler. You can go to Sejuani. Karma as a support, go to Nami.
On that note, though, you're speaking about versatile picks and people changing it up. I think WA have been the most versatile team out of these two. There's been similar compositions out of South Australia, but in that mid lane to Clown, showing Galio, Urgot, top side, Willow Andy, Shen, Camille. Very different playstyles. Bottom lane, the same again. And it just comes back to the fact that the more versatile team can outplay.
I would say the most important part is their first game for Western Australia was such a decisive and like I said, it was a thoughtless comp. It was, you just go in, you fight no matter what. Their second game was a much more finesse comp. You have the split pusher who does want to stay in that split push but can group, and they made sure before they took those fights, they waited for the Camille to roam, and now they got Camille again. So they can go back to that playstyle that just netted them the victory in the first game.
I mean, I'd be curious to see if Vision goes back to the aggressive playstyle. Remember, the Camille's still a flex, even though we saw Andy play it in game number 2. Or sorry, the very first game of the semifinals. You've got yourself in a good position if you're WA. Let me just say that, T-Gun. If that's a Yorick,
no way
though,
you lock Yorick here.
Oh, no. No. Oh, thank you. Now, T-Gun, what's wrong with Yorick, just to give some context?
Nothing. It's just not a competitive pick. It is incredible in solo
Such
queue.
a good solo queue.
It did just cop a couple really big nerfs that do hinder his performance.
Good.
But that would have been a real crazy pick to pull out when you're down match point. You're up against the wall.
But you're happy to take the matchup again. You think that's going to be Camille top. You just pick up the Kled. This time, Warwick was not banned. So you slam lock that one in.
That is the biggest change for me that South Australia needed to make. The Jacks in the first game, let's call it what it was, poor.
Okay.
At the best of times, it was useless in that game.
Oh.
Now you pick up Warwick, something that Mustachio is obviously more comfortable on and can be more impactful on. Hopefully it will suit their team better, and they can look at this game as just complete clean slate. There's nothing that really the Jacks did in the first game because his team didn't play around it. It needs to carry, it needs to essentially become a side lane or a split pusher, and going into Camille in that first game, he never got ahead. He never got to the point where he could be useful.
Yep.
So now, on Warwick, a champion that has the init CC, the init dueling power, I'm so excited to see Mustachio play.
Let's see if that change comes through. It is an upgrade, as Tegan was saying. Kaiser was slam locked on the other side, WA. This time stealing it from Hyun Sung, and he was aggressive with the pick. It looked like it could pop off, but he just couldn't get there.
Every fight that South Australia just barely lost, Hyun Sung was instrumental in trying to win them. Lysandra locked in. Now, this is a pick that we haven't seen so often, but I love it.
Yeah.
Also, we won't see it this game. I love it into Urgot. Sadly, we don't see that matchup, but the same sentiment prevails, is that you just simply pick it when you want to lock down and delete one person. The person, in my eyes, looks to be Kai'Sa. Such a slippery AD that does so much damage, it's difficult to deal with. Lysandra makes a lot of sense to pick into it when you can just lock it down, try and delete it from the rift.
Well, with the Lysandra pick, you again throwing that gauntlet that South Australia did in their first game against Northern Territory. Both teams, really, they threw something. Both of them were gauntlets, so I'll take out the guessing game for you. The Varus was the ban away, this time not going to give Hyunsung the opposite responsibility. And the swap around not going to occur. So what is that AD carry going to be? Well, we'll have to find out.
I would be really not surprised to see another AD ban. You want to limit the pool as much as you can. Hyunsung has shown how good he can be and how much of a carry threat he is. Kalista here would make a lot of sense. You don't want to give him that pick that he showed in the first game, where he took control.
Yeah.
He dove in level 1 to the enemy tri-bush. He knew exactly what he needed to do. To me, that is the strongest part of South Australia so far, has been their bot lane.
Is it going to be strong again? Rom was banned.
Opting not to ban Kalista here.
Game
Slam pick.
Of course.
Makes sense. I can't imagine why he would go to anything else. Varus banned out as well. Kai'Sa, Varus, two of the S-tier ADCs. And you've given away what I believe is Hyunsung's best champion.
I mean, we saw that in one game. He got ahead so early on. The Alistar was banned away, though, so you can't couple it up once again. But they've just gone in pick order here. South Australia support the only one left remaining. The Jarvan this time left over Vision. So his third jungle pick. And look at versatility again, the name of the game.
You look at support here. Morgana, Karma, Braum, Alistar all banned out.
Really?
Back to Zyra. We saw this. We saw Western Australia play this to, I would say, a middle amount of success.
It made the pick around Baron. So it made the game-winning pick and play.
Up until that Baron play, it wasn't feeling too hot.
Yeah.
It was struggling in lane, not too great. But the second it got in the position of Baron play, it was essentially what won them the game.
I guess it's different, though, because this time we're versing the Tahm Kench with the Kalista. It's not going to be easy to lock down Hyunsung. He's got fancy footwork, and the Kai'Sa, we haven't seen this interaction before either.
Well, in the same train of thought, it's not easy to lock down the Zyra now. You don't have Morgana, you don't have Varus, you have two champions that don't have hard CC. Like you said before, Tahm Kench likely to max Devour first.
Yeah.
So poking with Tongue Lash, slowing her down is not going to be an option. The poke damage, the brawling damage from Western Australia down in the bot lane is quite strong. And I was saying before the draft finished, South Australia, their strength lies in their bot lane, lies in Hyunsung. He's got his best champion.
Yeah.
And right now, the matchup down there isn't that great.
I think though, with Warwick coming down, that influences us more than a Jarvan coming down. Right? Now let me explain. With Warwick coming down, you're going to be waiting till 6. Jarvan will come down a little bit earlier, yeah, and pique your interest. Warwick has so much more CC with the combination of Tahm Kench than Zyra.
Well, yes, but the
no?
Jarvan can lock you down and keep you away from the Warwick. He can isolate the fight. He's not playing as the engage like Warwick will. Warwick will be diving in, trying to jump on the ADC, trying to initiate the fight. Jarvan can play spoiler there.
Can Kalista jump out of the Cataclysm walls?
I believe so with tier 2.
Okay.
So not without boots. I'm not sure. I haven't seen Kalista in a long time. So
I feel like with the Q, especially
with the Q, you can. With the
Okay.
Q, you can for sure.
Well, there you go.
But
you're still going to take the damage.
You don't ultimate the Kalista to lock her down. Like I said, you're trying to disjoint the Warwick. You're trying to disjoint their engage. You're expecting Warwick to go in and then the Tahm Kench to come in, link with the Warwick, help out the engage and lock someone down. Jarvan's goal there, if it ends up being a 3v3, is to play the spoiler role. You're not engaging, you're simply disengaging, helping your team peel, and then turn around. Damage from Kai'Sa Zyra is going to be immense, and you will win the 3v3.
Yeah, but if they can withstand it, if they can maintain that bottom lane, I feel like we'll see a Game 3. And maybe if South Australia can bring themselves to a quicker game, like they found themselves against the Northern Territory, then a Game 3 will be a possibility. There is so much opportunity in this composition. It's exciting, Tegan. I don't know if you get excited, but this is exciting for me. And South Australia finally changing things up. Maybe going back to some semblance of an original playstyle.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there. They need to kick up the tempo. Game 1 was a 17-minute game because they won all their lanes and they just kept pushing on objectives constantly. Game 2, when they didn't have control, when they couldn't go to objectives, when they couldn't force on whatever they wanted, they looked a little lost. They weren't able to take fights. They were playing Western Australia's game.
Yep.
Now, if they can get that done, if they can win all 3 lanes, it's yet to be seen. Obviously, Western Australia are proving to be stronger opponents.
At the moment, sorry, Tegan, I did something very naughty. At the moment, this is the moment, right? I'm going to say moment one more time just to keep things. I'm sorry, I coughed into the producer's ears instead of pressing the cough button. I'm a bit of an idiot, but I digress a little bit further. South Australia, the hardest task is coming back in a best of 3. We've said it many times in the OCS. Get over it. We see it many times in the OCS that coming back, a reverse sweep, is so hard. There's so much pressure on you. Tegan, you've been in best of 3s before. You used to play this game. It is just so much pressure put on you.
It is. However, they've shown before that these teams, across all of the teams that we've seen play, they're not really feeling that pressure. They're playing with confidence. They're playing the aggressive champions. We see even in the face of defeat, they're still going in trying to make plays. And it's not what I expected. I expected teams to feel that pressure, to be a little bit more cautious, maybe not take the engages, maybe shy away from fights. But no team out of all 8 that we've seen play has done that. And
no team has gotten to this grand final.
New Zealand has.
There's only New Zealand. No. Let me finish my sentence, Tegan. Let me finish my sentence. No team has gotten to this grand final without being flawless. So far, right, because there has only been one bracket that we've gone through. So this is going to be a test to see if they're up to par with New Zealand, if WA can win this away.
You've really stretched here.
I really have.
You've joined the Fantastic Four.
Of what? Fantastic Four. Oh, no. That's horrible, man. That's horrible. We are about to jump into game and save ourselves, but before we do, for WA, this is the moment where you test. Right. Different composition. You're running the Kaiser this time. It's not the Varus. It's something a little bit spicier. Yeah? You agree?
Well, the playstyle is still the same. It's a little different. You are right. Kaiser
is a little different.
Kaiser can be much more aggressive. However, you still place a lot of strength on your ADC. You still expect them to be carrying a lot of the fights, be a pretty instrumental part of your team comp. I want to give the advantage here to Western Australia yet again. Obviously, after that first game, it's hard to take it away from them. They looked cool, calm, collected the whole game. But South Australia, like I said, they need to kick up tempo. They need to look for fights,
there we go.
Look for picks early. I want to see something like the Asian noob, the second he hits level 6, rotating the bot. I want to see True Legend being proactive with his Kled ults. Get out of your top lane. Try and teleport behind bot lane and surprise them. Because sitting in your lanes game 1 didn't work. Unanimously, they struggled. You need to try something new. Don't just fall back to old habits.
I think for WA, though, still in that position of comfort. The Warwick, the change pick here. Lysandra as well, something we probably need to talk about. But at the moment, South Australia, the reverse sweep, the potential has to begin here. WA in a position of power. Tegan, all I have to say is, if you buy a bag of nuts and there's hair in it, what do you call it?
Minions have spawned.
Bag of mustachios.
You are just doing my head in.
Oh.
You are doing my head in right now.
Unfortunately.
I thought that was going to go a completely different way.
Unfortunately, pistachios are my favorite nuts, by the way. Just so you know.
I'm really glad you shared that today, Jake.
Yep. Off the rails, onto the rift. I am a man of taste. And I think Lysandra mid against Galio, well, that's your opinion, maybe only yours. I think, also, side note, those Zyra plants almost took red.
That's a risk you take when you play with Zyra or Twitch. Something like that that's on the jungler.
Yep.
You know, as a support or the AD, if it's Twitch, you just put out the leash and you just say to yourself, I really hope that he doesn't miss.
Oh no. Kyungsung just gets a couple of free spears and a rend. And although it might not seem like much already, the Callista's a pick that we were looking towards.
He needs to be careful, Hyunsung does. He's getting some poke down there, but it's going to be traded back with interest by Zyra and Kai'Sa. Your Tahm Kench cannot help as much.
Yep.
Now you see down here, Vision came in, poked his head in. looks to potentially contest this Crab, but backed off until his bot lane has priority. Now he can go in on the Crab, Kai'Sa and Zyra can walk up, and Mustachio has to be a little careful.
They're collapsing in, still level 2 on both junglers here. He'll get the damage on Vision, but in comes Kai'Sa. Peanut, one more hit, flashing forward. The fight already messy, but first blood over to Galio. The Asian noob gonna die as well. Flashes burnt, and everything goes wrong as WA walk ahead.
They try to kick up the tempo. They try and take the early fight, do South Australia. But Western Australia answer so quickly and decisively. Vision took his time there to contest that Crab. Sure, he didn't get the Crab, but he waits until Peanut and Mushroom Zack can roam up, give him the support that he needs. Clowns is able to follow to Asian Noob, and suddenly, he doesn't get the Crab, but they get 2 kills within the first 3 minutes, setting the tone of this game early.
On mid, on the AD carry, Summoner's burnt with flash, flash, flash down the line there from jungle, mid, and AD carry. But Peanut getting a kill as well. Suddenly the Kalista lane doesn't feel too good. The Tahm Kench as well just taking so much aggro. Walks in for the second skin proc, gets locked down. That is not what you want, Mr. Tahm Kench.
It's like I said, you have to be so careful with your trades on the side of South Australia. Even when you're getting those spears out, getting the Rens, suddenly the Zyra poke, the Zyra damage is something you have to consider. Tahm Kench cannot equal that. He cannot return that damage. So unless you're able to get an all-in or get an extremely good fight, Peanut and Mushroom Zack are more than happy to keep taking them.
Mustachio has been spotted out by a ward, but still the fight continues. True Legend staying in is going to now bait him through, and WA's top laner in a bit of a pickle. Rescaled up, and True Legend takes it gladly.
Finally, we see the Kled bait work perfectly. You get knocked off Skull, bait them out with your Skull health. Mustachio gets in early and actively. A lead somewhere for South Australia. That's what they need. They need to now compound this, help Kled get further ahead, and then use True Legend to rectify the problem in bot lane and in mid lane.
When top side of the map last game, South Australia just didn't find their window in. It was True Legend sitting there, just behaving, nothing more, nothing less. But now, with that kill, double longsword boots on the way back. Got health regen beat as well. So exciting stuff there for South Australia. Their window, as Tegan said, their avenue back into this really explosive early game. Still a 1k gold lead, though, from WA. And keep that in the back of your mind.
Now for me, Mustachio, he's got his gank off. He's been effective. He needs level 6. Like you said before we even started, the Warwick level 6 is instrumental in getting fights off, in trying to pick someone. If he can then get onto the Kai'Sa, get onto the Zyra, suddenly bot lane is winnable for Hyunsung and Zero. Because until then, they have to play the passive game. Look at Vision go.
Just walks in, takes it away now. Mustachio in the 1v1 might have a bit of an advantage here. Press the attacker's already procced, and with the blast cone, he'll get out. But Galio has just found Lissandra. Everyone flashing over the wall. True Legend gets a solo kill up top, but look at Galio. Takes down Lissandra, has so many spears in him. The Ren, the Ignite, Mushroom comes in. Knocked up immediately. Hyunsung in so much duty. Zero walking towards the Galio, but just can't find the kill. Zero will take more second skin procs, but here comes the charge. We're still going, Tegan. True Legend jumps in. Peanut, level 4. He's going to die. That's a big shutdown for the Kled. His 3rd kill. Can he find his 4th? Feels like no.
True Legend once again, the saving grace for his team there. Everyone else falling down, not able to find the kills. Hyunsung misses the rend on Galio by 1 spear. A stiff breeze could have blown him over at the end there. Doesn't get him. Even trade roughly by the end of it.
A lot of people died.
The side lane here, True Legend simply chases Willow Andy down, and suddenly he's able to teleport.
Can I just point out that bear trap on a rope at the end of the animation from the wall shot? Just pulls him back in that little amount. That's some frustration right there. But 3 kills on the Kled top lane.
Now Vision started all that off by stealing away a camp and then almost getting out. True Legend comes out the biggest winner of anyone in the game.
1,100 gold up there, Tegan.
Game 1. Willow Andy took control of this side lane, this exact matchup. Game 2. True Legend now, significant lead, and really the only lead on South Australia. They need to get him active on the team. Get him into bot lane, get him into mid lane, utilize that Kled ultimate. Because just being in the side lane will not be enough.
No one else is ahead. You said it yourself. The Clowns and Peanut are about 1,000, 1,500 up on their lane opponent. 2 kills on the Galio now, 3 on the Kai'Sa. We wanted an explosive game. We wanted blood. We got it. And in so many different lanes, so many opportunities for both teams to strike here. And now everything goes silent as 10 kills in 6 minutes. Looks like the time will extend without bloodshed.
Well, we're talking about how can Kled get active? How can he help his team rectify the advantages that Western Australia has across the board? And it is such a difficult task for him. Vision coming in here, bot lane. Galio also coming down.
Oh no.
Kled can't help this.
Hyunsung was just coming to warn. He actually will not be jumped on, so restraint there from Vision.
Restraint shown. Galio's roam isn't going to help net a kill, but it will net the tower. First tower of the game, and now you can get Camille out of that 1v1. Get Willow Andy out of this difficult lane to play. Get him active somewhere else, helping your weak lane, exacerbating your strong lane's advantage.
Yeah.
You potentially look at Dragon here as well. Proactive play here from Western Australia while ahead. Nothing to be scoffed at.
And having said that, an Ocean Drake for Willow Andy, that is actually nice. In a lane that he's not winning, he can pull back, or maybe he can't. Charge in again, Willow Andy in a lot of trouble. The ultimate burn there by Mustachio. A good timed flash there from the Camille.
Camille survives. The answer from South Australia doesn't amount to anything. Now you have the Dragon. Don't need to worry about the next one. Being an Ocean Drake, not coming up for a while. Get your duo lane up to top if you're Western Australia. Camille out of that lane. She is no longer a target. Suddenly, you have a massive lead when it looked like True Legend would be able to equalize the game.
Well, at least he'll put some damage down on the turret. Still not that far ahead. Willow Andy keeping up as best he can, T-Gun. There is so much individual power from WA. And again, I guess the topic for us was how the micro works out for these high school teams. Because in future, organizations will be scouting these players.
Yep.
They'll be looking for them for OCS teams, or maybe even if they put in the work to get into the OPL. Now, a lot of these players have showcased here today and yesterday. And that individual presence on Summoner's Rift has been very important. How they work as a team, arguably more important. But in the early parts of the game, it has been about these laning phases and who can really show up the most.
Right now, it's been all Western Australia. True Legend has cleaned up fights, has trickled in at the end, but hasn't been there as it blows up for his team. And right now, he's going back to the 1v1, which means Hyunsung and Zero are being left out dry.
Peanut just ults in. Hyunsung is going to get deleted. Knocked up there. The vines. Everything works out. Peanut picks up his 4th.
Hyunsung and Zero, they run into a 2v2, or what they expect to be a 2v2, and Peanut decides there's no need to wait. Let's go right now. Jarvan is in position. They are significantly weaker. True Legend kind of winning the side lane though.
Well, meanwhile, on the side, Willow Andy, he's going to be feared up once again. He's definitely dying here, or maybe is he? The Galio ultimate knocks 2 up. The Clowns will find a stun. Sorry, a bit of a fear. Legend still on Skull though. The ultimate isn't available. The Glacial Prison locked down, the tomb, and sealed tightly shut with the shutdown.
The Clowns tries to save Willow Andy. It isn't enough. South Australia yet again winning through True Legend, but on the opposite side, Tower, 2 kills, and Rift Herald for Western Australia. Peanut and Mushroom Zach, immense so far in this game.
But True Legend is immense in his own right. 5 kills. This is a big Kled, but the rest of the map just seems to be too large at the moment. If the Clowns dies there, it does not matter. Mid lane is going to get sacked here, and it is going to die.
True Legend starts needing to be left on his own at this point. You can no longer gank that Camille and expect to win elsewhere. You have Rift Herald available for Vision. If there is a gank bot and you now have a numbers advantage up in the top side, suddenly inner towers will fall instantly. Inhib towers will be under pressure. True Legend cannot receive any more help from his team. Not that he needs it, by the way, with 5 kills. But it also places a bigger pressure on his back to be ready to react when his team needs him.
I mean, Mustachio right now getting a little bit out of those kills, but still hasn't picked up his first item, nor has Vision at that note. Everyone else across the Rift to Clowns picked up the Rod of Ages. He's ahead by 1,000. Bottom lane still ahead by a massive amount. Quiznu's sitting there for the Kaiser, and look at that. That is insanely far ahead. What's mass, Tegan?
You are ahead
2,500.
by 2,000 on your Kled, and still behind by 4,000 as a team.
Yeah.
That is a testament to how well everyone on Western Australia is playing around this deficit that Willow Andy has. Now, we know he is the supportive top laner. He can play this role. He's played Shen before. He still played this semblance of a role in Game 2, where he would track towards his team and try and help them.
Yeah.
He's behind in a 1v1. Now, he doesn't have to take that 1v1. He can start looking for other people. Galio up here can wave clear, can stem the push from Kled, and while this happens, the 3-man unit, the 4-man unit for Western Australia is significantly stronger.
Because everyone's sitting mid right now. That unit, Deja Noob, is going to die here. Flashes away, but still wants to go in. Slam Dunkarino from Vision. He'll look to dunk another one. A double kill as Zero pops up, but it's a little bit too late.
Here comes the Kled flank.
Can he get the flank onto the 80 carry? Vision going to take it for the team, but the charge does not hit the key member. Willow Andy teleports in, and now they go straight for the inner turret.
The Kled flank is too late there for South Australia. Everyone has died. Rift Herald summoned. This tower is not long for the world. If they stay, they could potentially get the inhib turret as well.
Yeah, Hyunsung turns up, but again, a little bit too late. The inner turret goes down. Mushroom's axe sticking around. He will get the grasping roots though, so never mind.
Just ensuring the Rift Herald does get the charge off.
And it did.
They don't overstay their welcome. They get the turret, back off, take objectives, vision control. And suddenly, you have a huge lead.
There was a Abyssal Voyage taken there by Tom Kench. I think there was a hungry wolf. Well, Vision gets out anyway.
Much like trying to catch Nidalee, trying to catch Singed, Jarvan is slippery when he wants to be. So, good effort there by South Australia, trying to find something off the back of that loss. But Jarvan just quick enough to get out. And now, Western Australia. Significant lead, Dragon soon to come up. Willow Andy looking for Hyunsung here, and he can get this 1v1.
He definitely can. Look, there might not be a completed item, but Willow Andy, Hextech ultimatum, uppercut to the face. Hyunsung drops himself midair. The rend means nothing, even with the heal. Hyunsung almost dies, but the savior in 0. Willow Andy, 4-level difference. He'll just walk away from the top catch.
The slow hook shot there means Willow Andy doesn't get the kill, but he gets the double summoners from Kalista. Everyone has to roam down to help him. And suddenly this Camille that's behind doesn't look too weak. On the other side, Galio still stopping Kled from taking the tower.
Oh, the ultimate misses as well. The taunt will be available again in a second. Can Galio survive long enough? No. Kled just tanks up the turret, but at the cost of a second Ocean Drake.
Now you have Kled and Warwick up top. They have to stay here to take this turret. And look at the bot lane. The 4-man unit from Western Australia has formed up. This tower will fall. You cannot hold this as Hyunsung and 0. You simply are not strong enough.
I mean, the one backing as well is True Legends, so he's just going to leave the side lane, move to the rest of the map. Warwick staying there, but Lissandra cannot get out with the Glacial Path. Locked down with the Cataclysm, and the push continues.
Even though Kled is coming, he soon has his ultimate. The turret will fall. Traded away is that top turret. So the failure of Clowns to hold the turret, to stop the pressure from the 2v1, doesn't matter. You equalized quickly and decisively as Western Australia. Now there is not many objectives left.
Fate's Call just used there by Hyunsung.
You've got top inner turret, and then Baron is the next big thing for Western Australia.
At this point though, will we see Baron? I think 80% yes. But if WA keep being fast on the play, then SA... Unfortunately, I didn't mean to take it. South Australia are just not going to be here. 6-0 on Kled. Everywhere else suffering, though.
I think we'll almost certainly see Baron. Whether it gets taken is another question. But Western Australia, when they close out games, are careful.
Yeah.
They aren't the team to try and just end it all off one push after one team fight. They are going to look to close this one out. 6,000 gold lead right now. In a top turret is their next focus. And before that, they will try and methodically take control of the jungle, remove the vision of South Australia. We saw it last game. South Australia, persistent in trying to put their vision out, get whatever they can. And every time they did it, Western Australia answered by walking in, taking it as a team. And now look at this response. Willow Andy goes for blue. The whole team of South Australia has to roam down here. And when that happens, Vision is in the top side, clearing Vision and putting his own down.
I think at the moment, though, Vision in this top side of the map is going to be so much more important. Right? And yes, I understand the jungler's name is Vision. I do get it, T-Gun. Very nicely done.
Yes, you did. It pains me.
It's just you've been spending too much time with me, I think.
Yes, I have.
It's all right. At this point, T-Gun, it might be a 2-0. There was
Zyra
a flash forward.
in.
No more hysterics. Look. Oh, no. Well, Zyra will find the ultimate up. This might be my last team fight with the Glacial Tomb launched onto Asian Noob himself. The Clowns has to back away. Lysandra goes gold, but Willow Andy in the backside. Can he find anything? Galio suppressed. The comeback here from SA. They've got so much AoE. The 80 carry lives. The Ren there from Hyunsung, but Peanut gets a response. No Kled, no Skull, a double kill already. She ults in, she gets one, she gets two. Peanut, you animal, runs to the back for a triple kill.
Look at the Kai'Sa, that whole fight. He's hitting everyone, doing all the damage. Pretty much everything his team did in that fight was to save Kai'Sa, ensure Peanut survives. Suddenly, the damage output is too much. Everyone, bar Mustachio, falls. 2 inhibitor turrets fall. Now you back away here. The careful play, what we've come to expect from Western Australia. You've opened up the door to the inhibitors. You know you win team fights. As soon as you regroup, you can do exactly what happened here. Zyra flash to engage, doesn't hit the mark. However, you get the damage down, you burn the Devour, you buy time for Galio, and it was sketchy. I'll give you that. Peanut gets locked up here to begin with, but watch Galio give his life. Peanut is able to free hit this whole time, and even though people are going down, Vision falls as well. There hasn't been a single second where the Kai'Sa hasn't been able to hit people. Look at that ultimate. That tells the story. Throwing himself on Kai'Sa under turrets to kill 2 people. That is confidence that you can finish the game for your team.
And apparently, if this is my last game to cast, I think I'm blessed here, T-Gun. WA putting on a showcase as they again find True Legends in the top lane, but he's turning it. Skull almost finds the Jarvan. The Clouds goes back in. He's demounted him, but everyone showed up. SA locked down the Galio. Vision cannot re-engage, but look at the bottom lane. Peanut has helped find this kill, or almost helped find it. Runs back in, has been caught out. The Zyra ult does so much work, and Mushroom Zac and the bottom lane. Peanut lives for long enough. Can he find anything in the 1v2? Slowed down with the Ren, gets the triumph, but one more hit necessary. Zero doesn't tongue lash. A shutdown. The re-engage happens here with the ultimate used by Kalista. The Fate's Call doesn't find the knockup. Willow Andy back in. Great flash, but eaten up by Zero. Mushroom Zac following down. Kalista kiting away. So messy. Running away from the grasping roots. Willow Andy, he does find one, but now the one-on-one. Mushroom Zac, can he live? A teleport's there. Hyunsung walking away. The Clouds follows up with the Justice Punch. Hyunsung continues to walk down the path, and that might be it, T-Gun. Blitzcranker mode even shown for a bit of good faith.
What a messy fight from both teams, but it ends up even.
No.
Here comes Kled.
A great block there by Clowns. Actually saves the support, but will he die himself? There's no turret here. Justice Punch block. Winds of War does not have the damage. And with Bear Trap on a rope, True Legend, number 9.
No savior for the Galio. He saves the Zyra, lets Mushroom Zac escape, and now there is a window where South Australia have control. They are 8,000 gold down, and they have control back. Vision here, trying to take Dragon. This is risky. The Asian Noob has spotted him, but look at Peanut.
He's coming in as well. Glacial Path, waiting for the tomb. Launches it onto the Kai'Sa. Will he die? Again, the question, probably not. Peanut lives on, dishing out so much damage. Vision hits the lettuce, has a bit of a chomp. Peanut still alive. How the hell is this Kai'Sa alive? Triple kill to the Jarvan, and the Dragon once again theirs.
Jarvan gets the kills, but it is all Peanut once again. Survives from the Warwick, the Lysandra, all of these ultimates being thrown at him. Under all of that pressure, not once does he look phased. Hitting the auto attacks, making sure he orb walks perfectly. And Peanut, when the pressure is on, is proving his worth for this Western Australian team.
Proving that even though Western Australia is so far away from Korea, they still feel like the same player, although different roles. Baron will be locked down, and WA are one step closer to securing themselves a position in the grand final.
At this point, almost 11,000 gold with Baron. The ability to win pretty much any team fight unless Kai'Sa gets exploded at the start of them. And before all of this, there was no QSS. There was no deterrent for the Lysandra or Warwick. Now he has QSS. Now he can be even more aggressive, which is hard to think about, by the way. Given his ultimates, he's been going into the backline, going into danger without a care in the world. Stopping Peanut just became the most difficult task for South Australia.
Absolutely did. He's escalated now. 8, 2, and 11. 3 items, QSS picked up as well. And look at Mushroom Zach. This is just someone who's snuck ahead. 3, 0, and 11. This time, the Zyra, much more successful in terms of stats. And I think it's changing the way again.
Not just stats. In terms of gameplay.
Okay.
He has been there every time, helping Peanut, acting as a deterrent, putting down damage as well. The difference between the first time we saw this Zyra and right now is worlds apart.
Now Mushroom Zach looking to prove himself on it. They walk to the top side. There's one inner turret left remaining. Remember, no inhibitors taken, but Willow Andy sits in the bottom side without TP.
Willow Andy, just like the first game, splitting. However, Kled looking to go in.
He's actually found vision, but Cataclysm blocks him in.
Caught by the Jarvan. And that was your engage by South Australia. You wanted to go in before the Camille could get there. You burned the Kled ultimate. It gets parried, and now you have to fight.
Something's
you cannot let turrets go down.
In the bottom side, actually, Willow Andy gets a solo kill. Inhibitor's going to drop as well. The 80 carry is dead. Now Tegan, they're just walking towards the base.
There's no stopping them from South Australia. All 3 inhibitors are gone. They're not engaging on anyone. Soon, if the towers aren't taken now, the supers will do it.
They just jump straight into the fight. Hextech ultimatum, here comes the Wombo. Every knock-up lands and every AoE lands. Well played by WA. They go to the finals on October 20 to take on New Zealand.
What a game. Not just from Peanut, who was outstanding for Western Australia, but the whole team. Mushroom Zach on Zyra. Worlds apart from his first game where it didn't look good. I was questioning the pick and he shut me up. Easy, quick, smart, all game long looking strong.
Yeah, every single time you move the camera in that game, something was happening. WA are just active all over the map.
Yep.
Now, granted, the top side of the map just went horribly wrong early. Willow Andy recovered.
It was like he didn't fall down in lane phase, basically. He was down 3, then 5 kills, and still just stood up against the pressure, did his job. He stayed composed under the pressure he was receiving. He found solo kills in side lanes against Kalista by the end of the game and was pressuring them out, which is just great decision-making by the Western Australia squad. They realized Willow Andy's behind. We need to work out how to get him active. How do we do that? Break bottom, get the tower, and then move him around the map. Get him away from Kled, because we saw when Galio was going up against Kled, Galio was able to hold turrets. He was able to hold pressure until he was getting 2v1 dove. And if that's the case, if you have to be helping your 5-0 member, elsewhere on the map, you're conceding objectives.
It was a good effort, but in the end, another 2-0. A great effort there by WA, making a statement game. And I know New Zealand will be looking at them saying, we're going to have a bit of a matchup on our hands. If you missed out, though, yesterday, New Zealand powered their way through T-Gun in a very similar fashion.
New Zealand, like you said before, were flawless. I wanted to talk about Somnus, but honestly, he was almost overshadowed in their games.
Yeah.
What a squad they have put together.
But in the same regard, Bracket A, it was a good fight, but Willerton Senior High School from WA, I think they put on a very similar performance.
It was definitely a more hard-fought victory for them. Game 1 versus Melbourne High School was a real struggle, back and forth the whole time. Then against Glenunga International, a little bit more dominant, but still, they took it cautiously, patiently, took their time, but evidently come through the winners.
They've done enough though, Tegan. A 2-0 means they move on to the grand final against Rangitoto College from New Zealand on the 20th of October. That'll be live here on the OPL channel and live in the studio. We've got the players coming in. They've earned themselves plane tickets and they'll get to play for the very first time in the OPL studio.
What a thing to win as a student. You get to come to Sydney. If they haven't been here already, that's a big plus. Get to play in the studio live. That's a huge, huge thing. Now you're representing your state, your country even.
Your country, yeah.
That is massive.
I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to have the players in the studio. We will return on the 20th of October, apart from me, apparently. Thank you very much to Bradley Tegan Seymour, our production. We will see you live for the finals here on the 20th of October.